Yeah, Philo, I can't tell if that's just an audacious advertisement or if it's a reference to something that I'm not getting.
Okay. I think the part on the bottom part of the image is like an advertisement.
Right.
And then like read the whole thing in sequence. To the tune of Wonderwall.
Oh, god damn it. God damn it.
Which one is Wonderwall again?
I'm not gonna sing it.
Can you sing it?
Nobody wants to sing Wonderwall on stream?
No.
Send me a... I know it's a meme. Anyway, here's Wonderwall, but I don't actually know which one is Wonderwall.
I was gonna say, you've probably heard it once or twice, but...
Probably heard it.
There you go.
Oasis? I've never heard of that fucking band.
Anyway,
Here's Wonderwall.
here's Wonderwall. Alright. When we left off, you guys had just gotten back, Nordo and Vasu, from a jungly portal land where you had freed the thread, where it seemed to be caught behind a magically sealed door in a jungle temple. You gathered a couple of orbs that opened up the door, and that seemed to free it. And then you kind of slingshotted yourselves back through the portal. And all of you have kind of regrouped, with the exception of Nomad. Back in this room, where you can see that the portal is kind of settled on a single location. There's kind of these idyllic streets lined with these pink cherry blossom trees. And unlike before, when the portal was kind of showing a series of several different images, it seems to just kind of stay on this one, although the perspective does change from time to time. And you were deciding what to do next. You still have not seen or heard hide nor hair from Nomad.
Oh, this is Wonderwall.
Yeah, that's Wonderwall.
This is the verbal components a bard uses to cast prismatic wall.
Hell no, fuck that shit.
Anyway, here's Wonderwall.
You can see that the thread has given a lot of slack at this point. The portal has grown, but it is also getting fainter as it does so. And you can see that a lot of this room is starting to restructure itself back together. A lot of the stone has kind of snapped back into place. You can see the floor is starting to reform on the other side. Even some of the bits of rock that had been slung out through the door when you tried to open it and kind of crumbled out in the hallway are starting to pull themselves back into here and slowly sliding themselves into place. But for the time being, everything is quiet. It's up to you if you want to just sit and wait, or if you wanted to try to take another dive in. Follow your hearts.
I mean, if that's the last one it's showing, it certainly looks nicer than the last place we went to, right, Moto?
I'd say so, and if that's where Friend Nomad is, we better get going.
Before you go jumping into portals again, this one, if it's the last one, we don't know if untying whatever's on the other end is going to close the portal immediately. Like, we should send Shu in to do it, or at least see if she can.
She was dead. But I guess we got a little bit of time.
Send her back.
Say it's worth, I think, sending her in there, at least seeing if Nomad's actually there.
Yeah, if we're cool waiting for that, at least. I'll take the 11 minutes to resummon Shu.
Yeah, easy enough. Everything seems to be quiet for that time, and you're able to perform the ritual, and about 11 minutes later, she returns. Although, if I remember correctly, you already did this? And Shu, as best as you could tell, the last thing she remembers is diving into a pit of lava.
Yeah, you brought him back.
Diving into a pit of lava.
Yeah, so when you brought Shu back, you asked how it went, and she was basically saying something along the lines of, "Oh, it was all right. It kind of hurt for a moment, but then I died. We were up in that magma pit, and we had to do something about, like, you thought that maybe somebody had to make a sacrifice, so, I'm always willing to make sacrifices."
Has a 1 hour casting time.
An hour? Shit.
Not 1 minute.
Oh yeah, it's not 10 minutes, it is an hour. With that said, though,
yelling this at the stream when I rewatched it.
nothing interrupts it regardless.
Okay, so she was back, but doesn't remember a lot of things apparently.
I think she seemed to have like lost her memory of everything that had happened since Firebird's Roost, is what we had kind of determined.
Seems to be the case.
Well, that's a little concerning.
Still, I think. Well, I guess if it ain't gonna work, it ain't gonna work. I tried sending an animal through, that didn't work neither. What do you think, Mo?
Well, I'm thinking that whatever you just said is probably right.
Good answer. To catch Mode up, you guys are basically deciding if you want to jump through this portal, banking on it being the last place and hopefully finding Nomad there, or if you want to just kind of sit and wait and see what happens, or do something else.
Oh boy.
Came this far trying to get Nomad out of whatever pickle he's got himself in. I think we should go for it. But Little Dragon does bring up a good point. If this is the last one, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Or it might close before we can get back out. And then we're stuck wherever that place is. Also, just kind of clear things up for my own sake. Shu was able to pass through the portal last session, unlike I think it was like a mouse that Nordo tried to send through.
Yeah,
something.
I mean, as far as you can tell, they both passed through, but both of you tried to like watch through their senses as it was happening, and you both experienced the same thing, which is that your senses seemed to almost like stretch into infinity as it happened. The light became blinding, time slowed down, sounds went quiet, and then began to grow into like a louder and louder static. But you also do know that
Shu didn't come back out through that portal, right?
a couple times, yes. Basically, until the giants killed her, yes. She was able to go into like a snowy mountain, she told you. She mentioned a jungle. And each time she recalled going in, finding a thread, untying it or unwrapping it from around something, and then coming back out with no problems.
I think we owe it to Nomad to at least try and help him jump in there.
I need to have a word with him anyway, so he better not die in there without me being the one what kills him. I also ain't know shit about magic, so Little Dragon, if you think it's a bad idea, if you think this thing's going to close up after we go through.
I mean, this is just a little out of my depth, and I don't know what's going to happen. It might stay open for a little while, but it's definitely changing each time this happens. And if it closes while we're on that side, that's bad.
That and it seems like it's changing things out here too. This whole room's putting stuff back together. I guess worst case, if we get stuck somewhere in there, just either use Crescent King or the rug or whatever to get back where we need to be.
We don't even know if that's on the same plane as here.
Oh, what you're trying to tell me? This thing goes to different planes like the tree?
What I'm saying is that I don't know. I haven't seen anything like this before, and it's outside of my depth, and I can't really examine it without getting sucked into it. So
Is this when Nomad emerges saying, "This is totally within my depth. I've solved the mystery."
Not yet.
and this is when all of us shoot you simultaneously.
So I know meta, we've discovered that there's some weird like time dilation fuckery going on. I don't know which way it went.
I vote we go through it.
Yeah, I think we should go through. At least some of us should. I should knock on wood, I suppose, but it ain't got us killed yet. If Nomad's in there, I think we got to go for him. Probably best that some of us stay out. That way, at least someone sees what happens to this thing if something happens to it. Hopefully give them some ideas about how to come after the rest of us if it does split us up.
Alright, well, then you guys should take the rug.
I guess that's a good idea. Make sure we can get back home if we need to.
Just in case. We don't know what's going to be on the other side of that, but it's at least an out
Alright,
to somewhere.
I'll take the rug and kind of sling it over my shoulder.
You want me to put it in my bag of holding?
Oh, I guess that's probably for the best. Could be something dangerous on the other side here. Don't want to be holding a rug.
What if we wind
Okay.
up in some anti-rug plane, you know?
Right. I didn't even know there was an anti-rug plane.
Several.
Alright, I'm going to line up on the edge to kind of jump in there, presumably with Moat. I don't know if anybody else is coming.
All right. Anyone besides Nordo or just Nordo?
I'm going.
All right.
Can't let you guys go by yourself.
Me and Nord have been through worse.
Besides, if you don't come, Flick, who's going to ask about Zircon?
It's also true.
I'm going to stay and watch the thread and just keep an eye on the portal and make sure that if it closes, I can try and find a way to get to them.
All right. Excellent.
We'll look for anything while we're going through that could be helpful to you, Gale, when we get back.
I don't know, I guess see if you recognize anything from that lets you know that this is the same like world, or if you're in a different plane.
Got it.
I don't know if you have any way to check for that.
I'll figure something out.
I trust you.
I can always try to banish us, and then if we pop, we go back home, right? That's how that works.
That would work.
Guess that's not a good reason for you to come along, Flick.
That's what I tried to do with Uno, but didn't really work.
Right. Well, take a few days, but I could banish everyone back here. They'd be a random location, but they'd at least be on this plane, right?
All right. You guys kind of line up, time a jump, and I need a D3 from one of the three of you, and a D3 from Nomad.
Uh-oh. Not matching. Secretly, I like it because I think it means we're going somewhere besides Komobo so I can see more things.
He's just doing that fishing reel motion. Spool.
Nomad, as you are slowly kind of winding this thread, walking through this garden, back over towards the portal, you get about
Just
15...
for stream, before anything else happens, because Frisk wouldn't have remembered, but Nomad definitely would. He left a pamphlet for Master.
Oh, right, yes. There is a pamphlet that you've given to Mustard. As you were winding back, about 10 or 15 feet away from the portal, just kind of slowly kind of rewinding the spool, there are suddenly a couple flashes of light, 3 of them back to back. And popping out onto the street right in front of you are 3 people that you recognize. Nordo, Flick, and Moat. As you guys fall into this thing, you feel this weightlessness, and then all at once gravity seems to return. And probably a sudden or a pleasant change for you, Nordo, instead of finding yourself in a hot and unhospitable jungle. This time you just find yourself in a street. It's kind of nice. It's evening. The sky is almost as pink as the trees around you. There's a park nearby where there are birds just kind of calling and singing. You hear children laughing. You can smell food in the distance and drink, and you can hear songs. It's just a nice, quiet city street. And about 10 or 15 feet away from you, walking towards you, with the spool in hand, slowly being rewound as he follows a thread that kind of runs up to where you're holding onto it, is Nomad, who seems to be totally fine.
Oh, good, we found you. Nordo, do you want to hold him or punch him?
Let's get out of here first, then we can do the holding and punching.
Why did you jump in the hole?
That is our question for you. I lost my accent again. But
I answered that when I jumped into the hole with science. I thought
science
it
is
was
not an
obvious.
acceptable answer. It's not obvious at all. It was
I thought you
stupid
would.
and reckless, and I don't know why we're here, honestly.
He holds up the string. I thought you would put everything together that I had the answers.
And you didn't give one fuck about whether you're going to live or die. Could have got yourself killed.
He nods.
And I guess you also didn't give one thought to us. Is that it?
I did. I overestimated your intelligence. He just looks at the portal and hopes he reaches Gale. But not yours. He looks at everyone else. I expected this much. I just hoped that someone else would realize that I knew what I was doing.
I don't
Are you
think
all alright? There was some massive stretch and squash of time there that drove me a little insane. But I was already insane.
I ain't even going to begin to start unpacking this till we get back to safety, because everyone else is waiting for us. And even though
Yes, I hope
You-
you kept your hands on the string, but since you're here, I suppose you did.
Huh.
Yeah, we eventually figured it out. I don't know how you expected us to just know that.
I don't know nothing about any of this, but Little Dragon was concerned that when we come through this thing, it was going to close up on account of bringing the string through it or something. What do
He
you
was
think
right.
about that, friend Nomad?
It might collapse, but I do have the string. And DM, do I have the answers?
Do you have the answers is a very broad question. What do you mean?
To if they brought the string out there to collapse this one, because it seems every time the string is pulled back, a dimension collapses, or at least the portal to it closes.
So you've actually experienced that a little bit less than they have, but they have pieced together a couple of things. First, that every time that the string is kind of untied and then pulled back through, it seems to close off that portal to that place. And they've also been able to see from the exterior that when somebody goes in with the thread, it always leaves kind of a loop behind that hangs out of the portal. And looking back, you can see that there are 2 lines that go back through the portal, so presumably that's still the case. What you know for sure from the giant tug of war, the 3 of you that just came in, is that you guys could potentially pull on this thread from this side and close it just as well like that. And you've seen what happens when you do that. You chop that giant's arm off and they weren't able to come through anymore. So you kind of get the impression that right now, if you go back out through the portal with all of the thread, it will probably close this place off. But if you pull from this side, you could potentially close it off and stay here. You figured out at least that, pulling the thread through seems to close the loop.
You guys want to just try out a new world?
I would
don't say
like to
that in
finish the
character.
world we were on first, but Nomad holds up a few potions.
Well, I'm glad your shopping trip went around. We were out here worrying about whether you were alive or dead and whether we were going to live or die when we went in after you.
Can
I-
can I
Go ahead.
try to put just a point of lay on hands on myself? Does all my divine based stuff work here?
What a delightful question.
What a wonderful question. It does.
Oh, Adra effect.
It does. Interesting.
Well, we don't know if that's still right if the portal closes,
It's true. I guess we're holding the thread.
but we can do that later.
Mo, give me a spellcasting check.
Oh,
Or Arcana if that's better, but I feel like it's
Are you
probably
kidding
not.
me?
Yeah. Mo, not only does it work, but it doesn't cost any points of lay on hands. And you feel as you do this lay on hands, you feel power coursing through the thread in your hand.
Like
You,
it's gonna eat up the string if I keep doing it?
like, okay, in the sense that you've taken a bucket of water out of the ocean, maybe?
Gotcha. Yeah, well, I guess if you guys need healing, I'm feeling extra strong here for some reason.
Oh, well, you're attached to the string is the weave. So while you're holding it, you might be empowered.
What's the weave?
The weave is
The
all things
string.
magic.
So it's a
Um,
string of magic?
Yeah, if you let him, Nomad starts explaining the very essence of the weave. But he's continuously like wrapping up this, heading closer and closer to the portal.
Yeah, after about 60 seconds of lecture, I was like, we should get back to Gale and Boss, who they're going to be worrying about us out there. All right, 60 points of lay on hands for me.
Yeah. I mean, you have no issue at all. You can basically just dump lay on hands for free while you're holding
Shit,
that
does
thread.
anybody else need anything?
Let me see.
Can you heal my rage?
Am I missing HP? I think I am.
I'm not.
Is rage magic? Can you like? It's probably not magic.
It's not. I guess. Well, I don't know. Norda would be doing it. Never mind.
Gives me so many temptations.
I know. I want to like start throwing out alacrity on everybody and shit and see if it burns it, but Norda just wants to get the fuck out of here.
You do notice as you're kind of doing all of this, there is still just a very ever-present but slow reeling of this thread into the portal by itself. From both ends, Gale is experiencing the same thing on his end too. But he has hundreds of feet of slack out there, and you guys have like a good 50 or 60 feet of slack out here too.
Okay, so now what?
Oh, we're going back to
Back
the
through
portal.
then, I suppose.
So I wonder how you got here. How much time has elapsed?
Let's talk about that on the other side.
All right.
Where is this place, Nomad? How long have you been here? The other side, right.
Here, approximately 11 to 12 minutes.
Yeah, that was
All right.
fast.
Do you guys step through?
Yeah.
All right. As you guys step through, one by one, there are flashes of light. And when the last one of you emerges, at first you feel the kind of weightless floating that you felt every time that you've been ejected before, or when you were kind of floating around it. But then you feel hard surfaces begin to rise up beneath you, and around you, and kind of swirling as the place reconstructs itself under you. And Gale, from the outside, you watch the three of them emerge, and then this portal begins to rapidly shrink, and fade away into seemingly nothing. And as it does, all of these bits of room begin to reassemble themselves, until, at last, you're in what appears to be the original and undamaged room. You can see that as it reforms, there is a large black basin or tub of some sort that forms in the middle of the room. And you watch as it seems to draw from the stream of white water deep down below, just enough to fill itself kind of an inch or two below the brim, with this glowing, clean, brilliant, kind of diamond-colored water. The thread finishes to kind of wind itself around the spool in your hand, Nomad, and then everything goes quiet, and everything kind of seems to just go back to normal.
Just unattached to anything now?
Yeah, you now have basically a spool of thread in a flying shuttle. It is fully wound, and it is no longer wrapped around anything or going into any weird portals. It's just a spool. Then, a few moments later, those of you with good perception can hear sounds coming from outside. Confused shrieks and screams, talking and running and murmuring. um, the sound of whimpering and confused voices, including a few from just down the hall.
Immediately, Nomad connects with every mind within 240 feet and just says, "Do not be alarmed. Find water. No screaming. Your
Out
throats
loud.
are dry."
Out loud, Nordo looks at everyone and says, "We need to get the fuck out of here before we get blamed for this." And I'm gonna start making my way to the front door.
All right. As you do, the door suddenly opens in front of you, as you're still about 10 or 15 feet away from it. It swings open, and standing in it is a very short, injured, robed copper kobold, who looks a little bloodied from the battle still.
It's him.
And behind him, at first it just appears to be just waves of magical light, but then you realize that it is a creature made of waves of magical light, with 10 tendrily legs, and a body that almost seems to resemble that of a spider, although it is clearly made of energy. It is made of magical, kind of semi-ethereal stuff.
Ugh.
This kobold looks up to you, and then past you and kind of all around, and to Uno in the very back. And he calls out in Draconic, which I think a few of you probably speak. "You do it. You got it. All right, well, help me get it from these bastards." And he draws a dagger and begins to cast a spell. Roll initiative, unless you guys have something to do very quickly.
Counter spell.
All right,
Punch him in the face.
excellent.
Have
roll
we
right away.
been,
This works.
has it been fewer than 8 hours since we arrived in Unmirage?
Still has. I think this whole ordeal has probably only taken about 5 hours total.
Cool. I didn't know how all the time fuckery affected that.
Oh, I don't have a token on the screen, I realized. Just
Are we rolling our own initiative like animals?
I'll let you guys keep what you rolled. Was what, an 18 and a 12. Oh wait, because you were already in there, it didn't do the others. Everybody else just go and roll the initiative manually for this turn, and it'll do it automatically after that.
but yeah, here's my counter spell roll.
For what it's worth, he will cast a spell on his turn. He's
Sure.
rolled initiative, but he doesn't get like a free spell at the start of combat because he didn't surprise you.
Oh. Well, it's 21 anyway. Because we've already said it was gonna happen. No take backsies. I forgot what all my
Look at that.
circles mean.
Uh-oh.
Red is health.
Blue's probably mana.
Yeah, okay. It's mana. Oh, green is unlisted, that makes sense.
Alright, Nordo. You see this cultist begin to look over to Nomad, and seems to be preparing to do something to Nomad. But you react instinctively. What would you like to do first?
Punch him in the face.
Hell yeah.
And by punch, I mean hit with axe.
Big question, do we want him alive?
I would assume so.
I think he's the only one left aside from Uno, and Uno can't really talk. Nice.
Woo! Big old hit.
If a 16 would have hit, he is prone.
And it does.
And he needs a strength save. prone and restrained. My favorite.
He is fucked sideways.
Second attack.
Another solid hit for another 9.
Alright. Now for the bite, which is a crit if it hits.
It sure is for another 16.
Alright. That's my action. That's my bonus action. Oh, as my reaction. Upon getting that critical hit, I will use my Spine of the Cloud Piercer Mountain. Big, like, sort of shelter and stonish.
Oh, he might be dead before he even gets to cast the spell. Never mind.
And then I will stay right where I am and kind of just body block for this big bastard behind. That's my turn.
Alright, excellent. Speaking of this big bastard behind, he's going to do a legendary action. I have to double check and see what it is.
Now I'm on initiative.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're on there. Alright, as soon as you throw these punches...
Is it-
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, is it too late to say that I'd like to throw a stunning strike on Mr. Kobold Man?
No, it's fine.
Okay, thanks.
You hit with your last attack, right? Yeah, it was a crit. That's
I
right.
did, yeah.
Oh, cool.
He's
He's
stunned.
Hell yeah.
Stunned, restrained, prone.
Yeah, he's in the bad way. Who would have thought? But he didn't come back alone. At the end of your turn, from behind, you watch as this enormous creature, this spider of energy, suddenly withdraws into itself and slips like a stream, teleporting just right up into the thick of things, where it kind of rematerializes and begins to stretch its legs. You watch as one of them kind of connects to the ceiling, a couple of them connect to this pillar, a few on the floor, and one kind of slithers between Moat and Nomad and establishes itself on the ground over there.
Why would you do this?
Truly, though.
A giant light spider.
It's a giant light spider thing of some sort. And you can tell, actually, that at the very center of it, there is an eye of energy. It looks just kind of like this glowing orb with a big pupil in the middle that is just frantically looking around in all directions, trying to get a read for the room and to keep its eye on all of you. But that brings us to Gale.
Important question. Am I a dragon?
You have some draconic properties. You are not a dragon, but depending on what this is, you might have some things.
Okay. For the purposes of the Daggers of Dragon Feast.
Oh boy. That's the one that does like bonus damage to a dragon, yeah?
It turns it into a +3 instead of +1.
I would say I'll let it bump to a +2 on kobolds. That's close enough.
Okay. I'm gonna manually roll this like a peasant because of that.
Hell yeah. Oh my goodness, those both hit. You quickly discover, as you kind of come up to this stunned, restrained, prone kobold, that you're able to just kind of drive this dagger straight into their chest. And when you pull it back, you can see these massive wounds where, even beneath the wounds, you can see that there are these kind of purple, bruised-over surgery marks. And you can see that there's just an unnatural bulge in his chest where something has clearly been implanted. The blood that spits out is not normal kobold-colored blood, but kind of this dark ichor.
How high is this pool?
It is
Like
only
recess?
so it's not quite recessed, but it's very shallow. It's probably like a kiddie pool, one of those inflatable things.
Okay, cool. Can Toto run and jump over this like that?
Absolutely. And he's got athletics enough to just like make the jump without a check. Because he's got the gauntlet strength things.
It sure does.
Yep, easy peasy. No check required.
Oh, yeah, he can actually like get all the way up here. So
Hell
let's
yeah.
go do that. And that's gonna be him.
Alright, end of your turn. Here comes another legendary action. Nomad. This thing looks straight down at you, kind of rears back, and then you watch as the eye splits 4 ways right at the iris, and ejects this beam of light that kind of flicks almost like a spider web or a tether towards you, and specifically towards the thread, the spool of thread that you have in your hand.
Boy,
I need a
I just got
dexterity saving throw.
one of those.
You're not able to react quickly enough as this kind of
What's aura though?
Mozora 19, DC 21. It still fails.
Wow, 21.
Yeah, it ramps this tether around, and then you feel a jerk as it tries to rip it out of your hands and towards itself. You can either let go or you can try to hold on. Your call.
I will hold on.
All right,
This is a valuable thing.
give me a strength saving throw.
This is gonna be rough. Save me, Mode.
With Moat's aura, you instinctively realize that this thing is too valuable to lose. You grip it tight. You kind of wrap both of your hands around it, and you feel yourself pulled with it into the center of this thing.
Assimilate into the spider. Let's do it.
There are sparks and cracks as you can feel just raw magical energy all across the surface of your skin. It doesn't hurt yet, but this thing is clearly a being of pure magical force, as best as you can tell. And
And I'm a wizard.
You sure are. That brings us
And
to
I
8.
use it to fuel my spells.
Good try.
All right, I just have one question.
Yes.
So, the session before last, I put Hunter's Mark on Uno, and then I think you guys said that she died.
Kind of.
So
Not
did
this one.
my
Not this
Hunter's?
one.
Oh, okay,
This
that's what I'm
one's
asking.
Yeah, not
So
this
my
one.
Hunter's. So is my Hunter Mark still just on her then?
It is still on her, yes.
Okay, so I can't. That's what my question. I'll see if I can move it. Nope, because she's alive. All right. I guess we'll just.
Well, she's not alive.
Well, she's not.
She was dead before you put that on her because she's back
she's-
again.
Well, she's not dead. She's. Isn't this a physical? Is this a physical body or it's fine?
Yes.
It's fine.
Yeah. We
Then
found
she's
a
not-
dead clone of her.
Then wouldn't she just be an undead? It's fine. I'm just gonna start shooting the spider.
She has this weird organ thing in her. Or did.
The
I don't
old
remember
one.
Which
The
the
old,
old
one
one
does.
You know what? I'll save my questions for later.
Sure.
For now, I'm just going to take. I'll probably just use my bonus action to aim, and I'm just going to shoot this. I'm assuming this isn't the first round of combat.
It is, actually. You showed up just in time.
Oh, has the spider acted yet then?
It has with legendary actions, but I don't think that
Oh.
counts for rangers. So you,
Oh no, then I will not aim because I don't have to. I'm just going to shoot it a lot.
All right, bring it.
It's not an aberration, I'm assuming.
It is not.
And I'm going to take a -5 to do 10 more damage.
I'm kind of surprised it isn't.
Construct them.
Does a 27 hit?
27 does hit. Is your weapon magical?
Magical? It is. It's my
Okay.
darkness bow.
Excellent. Then let me double check real quick. All right. As this shot sinks in, you watch as this magical shot suddenly impacts against the side of this creature, and the entire thing turns from this kind of weird mix of different arcane colors into a solid gray, just a faint kind of dark white, and the arrow plinks off.
Oh.
Real quick, double checking. How much damage did you do total?
It would have been 46.
Okay. Clinks off is probably a little too strong. It reduces the damage by 10. The arrow sinks in, but then you can see it begins to shift a lot of magical energy in your direction. And that magical energy seems to be forming kind of a ward or a shield. It seems to be anticipating more attacks. But you did still do a lot of damage before it was able to do that.
And you know what? Might as well keep shooting. It's what I'm here for. So I'm going to do the same thing again.
Hell yeah.
I'm a sharpshooter. I don't give a fuck about your shield. So -5 for 10. A 23.
All right, this time
for 17 damage.
the shot sinks in square and true this time, but this time it seems that the shield has just totally blocked this damage.
Does it seem like it's deflecting? Does it just didn't sink in, or does it seem more like it just took the damage for it?
It seems to be just shrugging off the damage. You definitely hit it. You hit it like square on.
All right. Well, you know what? Maybe it has a limit. Let's try again. Same thing. Does a 26 hit for 19?
26 does hit. However, it seems to still just have this shield up and ready, and it completely negates the damage.
Interesting.
Cool. All right. I'm going to go and hide behind Flick. Or maybe Elise. Also, since I hit a creature next to Gale, he can always use our special bonus thing if he wants to.
Hell yeah. All right.
I'm
Okay.
pretty cool, actually.
I don't think it's a reaction anymore. I think you could just disengage and move away.
Take a step back over here.
Oh, don't do that. Okay.
Yeah, get fucked.
No. Well, I mean, they know about that, but can that thing fit over there? Oh boy. Alright, it is going to use a legendary action, but where does it want to be? What does it want to do here?
Bitch.
It is just going to use its legendary action. No, because it wants to keep that. You know what? It's going to wait. It's going to hold off. That brings it to Flick's turn.
Okay. Warlock time.
Whew. That's a lot of natural ones.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it is. Wow.
that's a lot of natural ones. Holy shit. With that said, 26 does hit, and 20 also hits. And you notice that when your force damage sinks into this thing, there is a massive blast of just expelled magical material that comes out from the backside. It seems to be very vulnerable to this damage.
Ooh.
So it's just 17, 34. And then another 18 from the second one that hits.
Seems vulnerable to force?
Seems vulnerable to force. Let's see. Grasp at the Deep also hits, 27. What kind of damage is that?
Lightning.
Alright. You do see, double checking. It does take some of the damage, but it seems to resist.
Okay.
Alright. That brings it to its turn, unless you have anything else.
Nope, that's action and bonus action.
Okay. Then it needs to get you all to calm down, if you don't mind.
You mind?
Like with calm emotions?
Not with calm emotions, but with the giant magical spider web.
Well, I don't know if that's calming for many of the party.
Alright, you watch as two of these long tendrils suddenly kind of clap together, and then peel apart, and when they do, there are these strands of energy that connect the two, and then with a fling, it gets tossed over kind of into this far back where a bunch of you are clustered up.
Question: how do the giant pillars here affect that web being thrown?
They actually, it seems to like cling to them and stick to them, adding some like volume to it. It is very similar to the web spell, where having like a vertical structure actually helps it to stand up.
I guess my question was, is it going to get stopped by these pillars as it's flying out?
Gotcha. No, it doesn't seem to. It seems to kind of fill an area, including the pillars.
Gotcha.
How many of you can he fit in this box? Not quite all of you. Pretty good chunk, though. Alright, excellent. Does anything happen immediately, or is this just on your turn?
Oh, I cast web. Gotcha.
Notably, it is not the web spell, but it kind of mechanically works a little bit similar.
But it damages?
Do I get to dodge out of it?
It'll happen on your turn. On your turn, you'll make a dex save.
Okay.
Alright, that does take its entire action, though, but it does want to move, because it has the thing it's after.
I'm listening to music for this. So calming. Here we go, something posted.
Alright, this thing kind of pulls itself up onto the ceiling and then begins to crawl along the ceiling with Nomad still in tow, kind of inside of it, until it gets down to here, and then has to lower itself down to reach the door. So it is about, we'll say like 10 feet off of the ground, and likewise Nomad is about 10 feet off of the ground inside of it.
Did he leave my range just there? No, he hasn't been in my range. Never mind.
I think he was, or not.
He was.
Oh, you're above, yeah.
Did he leave Toto's range?
He left Moat and Toto's range, yes, and he did not disengage, so you can both
Nice.
take opportunity attacks.
He
Oh,
did not
no.
leave mine though, right?
He-
Ceilings are low enough.
Correct. But he's now in your range, so if he does need more movement, he will.
The entire time it's just like, do not be alarmed.
Toto does force. Shit.
Sure does.
Shit. Yeah, Toto sinks in for 22 points of damage. Unfortunately, Moat, a 14 is not able to catch it before it gets away. That brings us to Vasu. Vasu, I need a dexterity saving throw to dodge all of these webs that have come up. Oh no, that's even more force damage. You're fine. You are able to just kind of entirely pull yourself free of all the webbing without touching it at all. Let me make sure it's not
Okay,
a safe
you guys-
for Oh, you have evasion anyway. You're fine.
Oh yeah, but that was a fucking nat 20. Have you guys ever played Resident Evil 4, or at least know that one scene
Yes.
when you're in like the hallway with like the lasers coming at you, and Leon does like a fucking backflip through all of
Yes.
them? That's what I just did, and then I'm gonna run up on this bitch ass spider.
Hell yeah.
You said it doesn't like force damage.
It definitely seems to react very poorly to force damage.
Okay. I don't run right up to it because I want to make these effective. And I get 4 of them.
So is Cobalt knocked out yet?
He's still up, but
Not
he's in a
yet, but
very
he's-
bad way.
He's
Ye-
under strains and prone and bleeding.
Alright, 3 of those hit, all but the nat 1 for 11, 19, double to 38 total force damage.
Hell yeah. And then I am going to continue to run up on this bitch. I'm going to dash at least 20 feet so I get advantage on the attack. I'm all bonus action. I'm going to kick him.
Can
Which
you
I actually can do.
Can you do a bonus action kick after casting a spell? I don't know how monks work.
You have to. Wait, no, I think. Hold on.
You could just like,
Can with
make
the new thing where if you used key,
Yeah, it's like a Tasha thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. They added that
If
thing.
you use key as part of your action in any way, then you can make a monk weapon attack. But you didn't use key for those, I don't
No.
think.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. If you want,
Um,
you can not run up on it if that changes what you would do.
No, I am still going to run up on it. I'll just bonus action to tunnel fight instead.
Alright. Oh, god damn it.
Yeah.
Right, that little detail. Okay, that brings us to Uno. Uno, who has been spending some time kind of just scribbling and drawing, has now scrambled out for that big wizard book, unless you guys took it back from her. She wants to cast a spell.
Yeah, I think we made a point to hold on to all of her spell books, right?
I think
Oh,
Fasu
no.
kept the one with the like her actual one with the skull on it that was clearly a necromancy book. But
Yeah,
gave
that
her
sounds
the
good.
other one maybe, if memory serves. Or no, we gave it back to her. Gail gave it back to her, but made it so she could only do somatic components. Maybe is what it was.
Yeah, we kept her gagged because she didn't need it for catnap.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, we let her do catnap. That's what it was.
she doesn't have a whole lot of things that don't require a verbal. You know what? She's actually going to start spending her action to try to get the gag off. Who tied her up? I assume it was probably the person who's best at it, so maybe Flick or
Probably Flick.
Gale? Yeah. Flick, give me a sleight of hand with intelligence, and it's going to get a little bonus because you're a sailor.
Okay. Okay, how do I roll it with int?
I'm just going to roll it normally and then tell me
Okay.
the difference between your dex and your int. Oh, that's already really good. Fuck.
So -5 though, so it's still a 21.
21, and then a bonus because you're a sailor. You guys are 17 now, right? Okay.
Yep.
Well, this is
me.
this is going to be hard to break.
17.
Yeah, you see that she's like wriggling and squirming and trying to get her hands free enough to like get the gag off and reach back and tie the knot, or untie the knot, but she's just having no luck at all. But she is going to kind of like scoot herself back into the. Actually, she wants the line of sight, but she has nowhere to. Yeah, she can do it. She'll scoot herself back into here to try to break line of sight with what's going on. That'll bring us to Elise, who needs a dexterity saving throw. What-oh. You watch as Elise is unable to do the cool Resident Evil flip over all these things, and as soon as she accidentally kind of catches one of these web tendrils, you watch as there's a flash, and she is pulled along it to the very center of this entire mess. And there is a scream of pain as she is kind of suspended in the middle of this web. First of all, she takes some damage. And then all of the quick shout of pain is suddenly stopped short. And you watch as she tries to say something or cast a spell or do a heal or do something, and nothing comes out of her mouth. So instead, she's just going to try to struggle and break free of all of this with her action. And is eventually able to wrench herself free of it. Let's see. Oh boy, 20. She's able to just barely step out and gets to here and just catches her breath. She doesn't realize what's happened. When she tries to speak, there's still nothing that comes out. But that is her turn. Mo.
She can breathe at least?
She does seem to be breathing at least.
Alright, this weird spider is just made out of, like, energy, right?
It certainly seems to be, and it's been going through a few different colors, but right now it is a bright kind of almost pure white, but it's a little darker. It's gray energy, whatever that looks like.
Alright, let's do some weird modi shit. Gonna run up here to underneath it, and then I'm gonna try to jump into it and touch Nomad.
All right, there's no problem at all. You definitely feel kind of a tingle. What is your athletics score? You've got good athletics, right?
Yeah, let me check. Been a minute. My athletics is... God, why can't I find it? 11.
Oh, plus 11. Oh, that's
Plus
plenty.
11, yeah.
Okay. Yes, it's crowded over here. There's a lot going on, but he's only about 10 feet up. You're at least able to kind of jump high enough to reach and grab onto Nomad if you want.
Okay, I will reach up grab onto Nomad, and then, assuming he's willing, I'm gonna cast a spell
Sure.
and teleport both of us like right around here.
Oh, that's a cool spell. Did you make it yourself?
I just reskinned Thunderstep, but yeah.
So here's an important question, Nomad. You know that if you accept this, you're not going to take the thread with you.
Oh, this thing will not. Oh no, I just.
Oh, I don't know
Hey,
if I knew that.
Sorry, I couldn't. And he just stays within the spider.
Nope, totally fair.
Yeah, he's like, oh no, sorry.
Yeah.
If you leave, I leave with you. This stays. Also, that's a really cool spell.
With that said, the temp HP still happens, so everyone tucked in that corner, Gil, Nomad, Nordo, Vasu, and Moat, all get 5 temporary hit points.
Sick. Like a thunderstep that heals or keeps people alive.
Yeah, it's dope.
All right. How much movement was that? All right. Well, I have enough to get back into range, so I'll just get back in range and I'll do a quicken spell and I'll just beat the shit out of him.
Hell yeah. This is on the
Different
spider?
weird modi shit. Yeah.
Cool.
No, it's not Nomad. Where's my spells?
Oh my goodness.
It's a spicy meatball.
Yeah, that
is
is
a spicy meatball. I'll go ahead and dump some smite into that too.
Alright, excellent.
And then I'll obviously have it bounce to the unconscious kobold underneath all this mess.
And also bounce to my motherfucking axe. Oh, wait, I don't have a reaction. I can't do that. Never mind. Sorry.
Alright, you notice
I do.
as the sword sinks in, it seems to kind of push back against the sword. However, you then ignite it with this holy flame, and it can't do shit against that. And it seems to take every bit of the fire damage.
Perfect. That is me.
Alright, excellent. At the end of your turn, it does not want to be here. You are all here. Also, that really hurt. It is going to use its legendary action to. Oh, it can't do that, or it loses the thread. It's going to do web instead. You watch as it fires another kind of Spider-Man tendril over towards this door at the end of the hall, and then it begins to pull itself over in that direction. This is not a teleport, so it triggers from every single one of you, including Vasu.
Should go well.
I also use my. Oh wait, no, I don't want to use my reaction to ignite my spear because I hit it. I missed.
Oh, thank God. Thank God Vasu misses. Moat misses.
I think I'm too short to hit it.
So it has to pull itself through the doorway in order to get out. Do you have how tall is this doorway? There's no way it would be so tall that you couldn't swing as it passed by. Yeah, you
I
can
mean, I'm very short.
that's fair. You know what? I'm gonna roll to see how tall this door is. It is a palace, so I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
We'll call
Like,
it.
I assume that these are like 20-foot ceilings potentially.
They are. The door definitely doesn't run that tall, but we're gonna find out how tall it runs. Let's do this. This feels like appropriate palace height. 11. This thing is large, so it would be another 7 beyond that. Yeah, that's close enough. You'd be able to reach it.
Cool. I'll take a swing then.
Yeah.
Assume it's not a dragon.
It's not. That does hit though for 10. Oh, it's piercing damage anyway. It seems to be completely immune to the damage. I've bamboozled you. I'm so sorry. Anyway, that brings us to the cultist, who's fucked up beyond all repair. Nomad.
It's me.
He does take 10 points of necrotic while he's fucked up beyond all reason.
Perfect.
Am I considered to be holding this thing?
Yes, it's contested, so you're not the only thing holding it, which would potentially cause some problems for spells.
So I can't just like grab it with me.
Like you're definitely grabbing it and holding onto it. You're holding it, but so is this.
But it's also considered carrying it. That guy, right?
Right. Like,
So,
you
yeah.
both kind of have a claim to it.
I can't just teleport out without this.
Right, exactly.
basically. Okay. So instead, he's going to face it and just say like, unhand this now.
Oh
And
god.
unleashes the force right at
Fucking
it.
force damage. Not good. Oh my god, it needs to save on that. It's gonna burn one of its legendaries. Still fails. It'll
Still?
burn a second one. Okay, with the
Yeah,
second one it
like-
succeeds, but it still takes half, which doubles back up to 26 anyway. But at the very least, it does not push
It was
back or knock
fine.
prone or anything.
I have 3 more uses of this spell. And bonus action. I don't have bonus actions. I'll just keep my hands around this thing
All right.
and trust in my friends.
All right. That brings us to the top of a new round. And at the top of the round, it's going to use its lair action. It is, you watch as all of this kind of grayish energy that it has formed into a shield around itself suddenly condenses into a point, which it then spits right into the middle of all of you. This bead of energy looks like it is growing with energy and probably going to do something unpleasant soon. Yes, can do.
Can I catch it and throw it back at him?
Can certainly try.
It's probably not a cantrip.
It's a little hard to see, but it's like right under the kobold's head there. Alright, the kobold is still stunned, so it takes more bleed damage and does nothing.
Die.
And then Gale is the first to act.
Wow, I never thought I'd see the day. Well, I'm gonna just try to finish off this poor kobold.
Uh, 16 and 15 do both hit. You need a crit fail to miss this dude.
His AC is lower than yours.
He's a little ill-equipped for this job. 20 points of damage. Yeah, his movements are becoming erratic. He's coughing up blood. But he is still
Antonio's
kicking.
gonna come and do a. Toad's just gonna like come over, turn around, and do like a donkey kick into this thing.
Hell yeah. Oh. 9 more points of force. His head kind of gets rocked back. His eyes begin to roll back a little. He's still holding on, but he looks delirious.
Alright, and Toad is just gonna sit on him.
Perfect. End of your turn. This demon wants to get the fuck out of here. It's going to fire another web line that it uses as a tether. How far can he go with this?
Is it like Spider-Manning?
He is Spider-Manning. He is 100% Spider-Manning, and you are along for the ride. Line of sight is a bit fucky here, but he can at least get to... oh, it's probably too low of a ceiling for that. He basically is able to get to, like, right in the middle of the throne room. And that brings us to Nordo.
Okay, I still have some temporary hit points for painting from that skill, so at the start of my turn, as a free action, I can do an unarmed strike, which I will do to this guy.
Guy.
See if I can't just finish him off. I'm just going to basically like, kick him across the head and try to knock him unconscious. Non-lethally.
Will your wound still kill him if it's not lethal?
You know, I was thinking about that, but I'm not going to take the time to stabilize him. So.
That does hit for 9. He's still breathing.
Cool. I'll just let the wounds take care of the rest of
Yeah,
that
it
business
looks like they
then.
probably will.
Okay, shield subs into my turn. Can you please once more describe what this little white circle is on the ground here that was shot in our direction?
Yeah, you actually have very good perception, so you can probably make it up better than anyone else. It looked like he took all of the weird magical energy he was using to shield himself from weapon attacks, from Ace and from Gale. And then he took all of that energy and formed it into a bead, which is now pulsing and looking like it's going to explode. And you can actually see that inside of this orb are thousands of tiny magical blades that are swirling around like shrapnel. And it looks like they're getting ready to burst free.
Okay, that seems like very bad news, so I am going to hope that walking near it doesn't trigger it, and just run past it, kind of jump over it if I can.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me a very easy acrobatics check.
Can I sell you on athletics?
Yep, absolutely.
Terrific.
Alright, it's less tiptoeing and more just like literally jumping over the orb and Gale and the cultist, but you're able to do so just fine, and you plant your feet on the other side in the hallway.
Okay, cool. Did that cost me any extra movement, or is that just a normal 15
Just normal
feet?
movement, yeah.
Okay, cool. So there's 15. Alright, cool. With my first 30 feet of movement, I will run to here. I will see Nomad sort of struggling and pulling on this thread that he's fighting with this thing about.
Physically weak.
Right. And say, need somebody a little bit stronger. And I'll offer to reach in and try to grab the thread. And if Nomad releases it, I will grab it and try to pull it away from this thing.
Alright, give me an athletics check.
Let me double check. I think I have it
Amazing.
on those.
At least that was the DC, I think. Because it's a weird, like, monster grapple where it requires, where it has a
It's
DC
okay.
contest, right?
Yeah, he's got like the weird base DC instead of actually doing a contest.
21.
The DC is 21. You wrestle this thing free, and there is kind of a weird, like a hiss through a microphone.
Sorry, okay, cool. We're still good.
Oh, that was for your
from
jump.
the jump.
You're right. Yeah, you're
Other
still
side.
good though. Yeah, you yank this thing free, and it turns and it stops, and this eye in the center of it suddenly snaps back around to you and turns red with rage as you've ripped the spool free.
Okay, and I assume that was a action?
Yes.
From a bonus action, Nordo will... I don't know if this guy has counter spell. I start casting a spell.
It doesn't have any reaction to it. At least not right
Fantastic. Nordo's body, like Thanos, disintegrates and turns into sand, and the sand sort of flies away in a wisp. And I will do that.
away. Oh,
Teleport
god damn it.
right back in the hall where I came from.
Your cool reflavored steps.
Yep. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go to the other hall. Over here. Alright, that's 30 feet of movement and an action and a bonus action. I will use my last 20 more feet of movement to just run the fuck out of this thing's line of sight.
Oh,
Head back towards my beloved spice rack.
god damn it. Okay. You can see within 30 feet. Alright. At the end of your turn, it uses its last legendary to chase. Nomad, you feel yourself just suddenly released as this thing dematerializes, turns into a slipstream of magic, and teleports back over into this hallway in the direction of Nordo and starts to like chase him over there. Nordo, in here, you hear murmuring, you hear yells, you hear like scared people, mostly coming from the kitchen, but you can tell that there is somebody kind of like confused and concerned, even past the doorway that you're right next to.
Okay, I will just shout out in common. I don't know if they speak it. It ain't safe out here. Stay hidden.
Alright, excellent. That'll bring us to Vasu's turn.
Vasu tears through the corridor with dashing speed. I'm gonna beat up this fight. This is at advantage because of the dad. Oh,
Unfortunately, 15's no good.
I attack again.
That one will do it, though, and this time he does not seem to be immune to the damage. He takes 11 points.
Cool. Give me a con save too.
Yes, sir.
Oh my god, this thing has
Stun!
such a big bonus. It has to burn a legendary. It cannot afford to be stunned right now. Please, for the love of God, roll high.
Team.
19?
Oh, balls.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank God. That is its last legendary, though.
I
Right.
attacked it, so I can do a monk attack as my bonus action.
Sure can.
Let me see how much ki I have, though. I'm gonna declare a flurry ahead of time.
Alright.
So here's 2 more. Kick
That
and a
hits.
con save.
God damn it.
You knew this was coming.
I did. This thing has such good saves. But okay, thank God I
Oh.
didn't jinx it.
Alright, here's the last. Another con save.
Another good hit, another 13 points of damage, and another con save. God damn it. It's stunned.
Huzzah! It's stunned and I have no more
Praise be.
actions and it has no more legendary.
It has no more legendaries to try to break free either, so it is just like stunned until it has some new legendaries to spend. God damn it.
That's my turn.
Alright, Uno continuing to just try to get her hands free, or the gag free, so that she can cast spells. Although she does seem a little bit safer now. Starts to make a little bit of progress, but it's not something she's able to do in a single turn. That would bring us to Flick. Flick, I need a dexterity saving throw. If he's back, I think he said he was going AFK for a sec.
He's dead.
He's dead. Rip in peace. Alright, we'll get to him when he gets back. Ace! I need a dexterity saving throw.
Okie dokie.
I'm gonna explode.
I have advantage because rogue, right? It's been so long since I played.
Barbarians get advantage. I don't think rogues do.
Yeah, you're thinking of Rye.
Oh yeah, I missed that guy.
We'll jump back to you in just a sec, Flick. You are able to avoid the strands of webbing and can move through it at a 4-to-1 pace if you want. Moving.
All right, if you want, you can just go ahead and jump to Flick, and I'll just continue after
Okay.
he's done.
Yeah, we'll save that dex save for you. Flick, I need a dexterity saving throw.
Okay.
Ooh. Let me double check the DC. I think that might fail.
Can I use my hero point that I still have?
Yeah, you can. I think, what is it, D6? Let me double check. Yes, it is a D6. That makes it a 20. Is
It's
the...
been 21.
It has been
for other
21,
things.
but I don't know if it's the same as for other things. Double checking.
That one was a grapple. I don't know if this is the same.
It is 21 still. So
Ow.
unfortunately, this actually feels kind of familiar to you, Flick, because you've experienced something very similar while you were piecing together the soul of Samson Tomarello. You feel yourself suddenly pulled along these strands to the very center of all of this webbing. You take 38 points of force damage, and then I need you to give me 2d6.
It's always horrifying
terrible.
when you have to roll some unusual dice like that.
What is your passive perception?
Passive perception is 16.
That would be good enough to notice this almost immediately. You have noticed, not only in this room, but in the room south of it, that this water has had a very crisp, almost overwhelmingly pure water smell to it. And as you are stunned by the pain of this, you feel this bizarre tension kind of right in your sinuses and your forehead and the bridge of your nose. And you realize that you can't smell it or anything.
Oh no.
With that said, it is still your turn after the damage. All that's happened is you've been kind of restrained in this webbing. You can try to break free. Or you can use some other action if you want.
I'll attempt to break free.
Alright, athletics or acrobatics as an action. Plenty. You're able to kind of get yourself free of this thing. Carefully make your way kind of down to the floor where you can start doing a laser dance through if you want. If you want to move without making repeated saves, you have to move at 1/4 speed, or you can just kind of make a dash for it, but you're going to have to make a dexterity saving throw.
Let's see. I'll just get out of the webbing here.
All right.
So,
All right, you have
Should
enough
be able
movement
to
to
do
do that safely, so there's no check required.
okay, cool. Then that's me then.
All right, that brings us back down to Ace. Ace, you've made your dexterity saving throw. What would you like to do?
All right. Well, probably start getting out of here. Since, the spider that ate my friend ran away. So I guess I'll take, how much movement would that be? Would that actually take a 4th movement to move out of it?
Stepping out is free. It's only stepping into or through it.
Gotcha. And then I'm just going to, I'm just going to take all dash action. Take 1 dash action.
Sure.
Which gives me, I think, 70 feet. Let me get the ruler. Yeah, I'm gonna run up to the doorway with my first dash. Kind of step here, look down the hall. Can I see the spider from where I'm at?
Absolutely.
I guess I'll just shoot it again. Yeah. Okay. I'm assuming I'm not in darkness.
No, you're not. Uh, 19 does just hit for 34. Uh, 30 is another good hit for 8.
And that's all I got. I'm assuming I see the bee that's still on the floor.
You sure do, and it looks like it is angry and probably going to do nasty things soon.
All right, with the rest of my movement, I'm then probably going to run back over here and slip past Uno with like 30 feet left of movement.
Good lord. Fucking rogues. All right.
And that's me.
All right. Well, Elise, she's got Tabaxi Dash.
Did she stabilize the cup?
Yeah, if you've got telepathy, if you want to call out for her to do that, she'll try to do that.
Yeah, please save the copper, the cultist.
All right.
There.
She's still gonna have to Tabaxi Dash to do it. Those of you who are still in the room, what you see is she starts to run over, and then she starts to try to cast a spell towards the kobold, but nothing comes out. And she seems, it's like Ariel and the Little Mermaid. You all know what this looks like.
Ursula, your voice.
So instead, she kind of steals her nerves and grits some resolve, runs over and just picks this kobold up and starts to drag it away from the bead and back over this direction. But that is her action and movement. That'll bring us to Moat.
All right. This bead in front of me, is it like a tangible object? Could I like pick it up? Like,
you do see it's at least like kind of rolling around on the floor like a marble, so there's at least some corporeality to it, although it's definitely magical.
I've got like 3 really stupid ideas. Which one do I go with? Okay. I don't have enough movement to reach the spider. I guess I will start making my way towards the spider and try to just pick this orb up if I can.
All right, easy enough. There's no resistance, and it's big enough to kind of grab like a softball. You can feel that there is an immense amount of energy radiating from it.
Okay. I will then step about right here. I'll look over at Nomad and say duck, and I try to throw it in this corner.
Excellent. All right, it lands over there, kind of bounces off the wall, and then comes to a stop right below this this Weaver demon. And you can see that it looks like it's going to burst in a matter of moments.
That action, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Then. Boy, I have so many resources. Let's just get stupid. I'm going to quicken a spell before I duck back around to this corner for cover. I'm gonna hold out a hand towards this weird spidery light thing. 5 golden rings are gonna show up on it and try to like eat away at its being, I guess. And I'm just gonna see if this does anything. I'm gonna cast Dispel Magic on it.
Hell yes. Roll me. 60-12.
Jesus. Oh, it's force damage also.
Yeah, as these rings emerge, they sink in around each of the arms and just begin to sever. That is a total of 72 points of damage. And if it had anything to lose, it would lose it, but it doesn't.
I'm doing it, God, and then I'll dip back around to recover.
Yeah, you are able to clear, like, just plain as day tell that this thing is made of magic, and it does not like Dispel Magic one tiny bit.
Astounding.
Alright, that'll bring it to its turn. It can't do anything, but the bead sure does.
Oh boy.
Fuck, it can't react, so it can't give itself immunity to this either. Yeah, it erupts. I think, yeah, Vasu and Nomad are just outside of the explosion. It looks to be a 15-foot radius. So it is the only one that takes this damage, as these blades of just magical slashing energy rip into it for 23 points of damage.
What damage?
As this thing explodes into just blades of slashing energy.
Oh, slashing energy.
Mm-hmm. And that brings us to Nomad.
Energy's a cool energy damage.
That was-
Nomad touches down the ground, and he just looks at this thing. He's like, I have learned so many things going through the portal and touching the weave and interacting with it, and now I am hungry.
Oh no.
Like, gross. Tentacles sprout from his back, mimicking the spider legs this thing has, and he resembles it in a way, but made of like rubbery, wet tentacles. And
For fuck's sake.
instead of an eye, splits open a gaping maw full of teeth, and it's an anti-magic cone.
Oh my god, why did I give you this spell? Yeah. As it emerges, this cone, you can tell that it is basically just dissolving this thing. It doesn't have to roll anything until its turn starts, but this cone is just causing it to evaporate rapidly.
60-foot cone. Oh, I can just use a reticle for that somewhere.
Yeah, 60-foot cone is whatever you want in any direction you want, pretty much.
Is it blocked by solid objects?
It is, yes. So in theory, if you were to like kind of come over here, you could angle it in such a way that only this thing is being affected by it and not Vasu.
Sure.
Alright, perfect. That brings us to the cultist, who needs a death save, that's right. Give me bleed
well, first he
damage.
needs to bleed.
Yeah.
Fails one save immediately.
Oh yeah, he's not...
No, he wasn't
yeah,
dead yet, so
he's
this
not-
will probably kill him.
Yeah, there we go. That is what
that
knocks him
saves
out.
us a turn.
Alright, you do get your temp HP, because the bleeding has knocked him unconscious.
He's not within 5 feet of me, and also I've already got it from the Cloud Piercer.
Oh, we're actually at the top of a new range, so he might not take that just yet. Sorry, hang on. I accidentally looped back through initiative. Here we go. God, the demon is stunned and hasn't had a chance to use its reaction, so it can make another bead. What a nightmare this is. I cannot believe you got that stunning strike off.
It took me 4 key points, but it was worth it.
Alright, Flick, your first act.
Yay. Alright, cunning action dash. I think. Let me measure that.
Friend Flick, a warning. There's an anti-magic field there. You may not be able to affect it.
This is why we just don't use those.
It will die next.
Flick walks around the corner expecting to see Nomad, and instead sees whatever fucking horror show is crawling around the wall talking to him.
On
Sighs.
Go back over here. Bye. That's my turn. I'll use my whole action to move back over here.
Alright, excellent. You can dodge or ready something if you want. But in the meantime, Uno's going to try to finish getting this off.
Were we wanting her gagged? I've missed a lot. Because she can't talk, right?
They had her gagged just to prevent verbal components on spells.
But she can't talk.
That is
She
true.
can still
That is
cast
true.
verbal components.
Yeah, you've seen her cast some verbal components still.
Oh, okay. That's. I guess I wasn't here for that.
Which is
Dimension Door has a verbal component, and we don't want her Dimension Dooring and running away.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I
She can't really talk.
just look at her disappointingly and shake my head as a reaction? Like, don't do that.
You do that, and she just looks back at you and like pauses for a moment, and then continues like gnawing on this thing and trying to wriggle her wrists up and get it out. And actually, I'll say that is, yeah, that would put her past it. With this one, she is able to kind of get the gag low enough that she can at least potentially cast a verbal spell. But her hands are still kind of bound at the wrist, enough to do somatic, but still not super comfortable. And she starts to like pick up the spell book and kind of pull herself to her feet, and start to. She like gives you a look and then does the "Hey, come with me" thing with her head, and starts to run out the hallway and out this way. But that's all she can do on her turn.
Okay.
Elise is going to try to stabilize the cultist. I think the first thing she has to do is staunch the bleeding.
Yep, medicine check DC 17, I think.
That is no good. She tries, but there's a lot of blood. Alright, it begins. Nomad, roll me 12d8 force. Holy fuck.
DC's 19 for
Yeah.
me.
You watch as this thing just begins to melt away in the cone. It fights and struggles, and kind of unusually, it is not immediately snuffed out. But most of it is. All that is left is this eye, which is beginning to crack and fade and melt away at the backside of it, and a few sparse tendrils of energy. Boy.
Stunned.
It's stunned. It doesn't do shit. Yeah, it doesn't do shit. Moat.
Well, I guess I'll just head this way to kind of body block the off chance this thing gets to like move, and I'll try to attack it, but I'm probably in the cone, so my weapon probably isn't going to hurt it.
Yeah, as you swing in, you can tell that without the energy of a magical weapon, it just doesn't seem to do anything to this creature.
That is me.
Alright, Ace.
Okie dokie. Well, I will follow her. And then I'll hold my action to just keep following her? Like to dash after her?
Yep,
Can I do that?
absolutely. Yeah, you can just kind of keep pace with her. Nordic.
Cool.
Okay, something wants to come take this thread from me, and I don't want it to do that. I will run. Boy, I kind of don't want to go run into the vault while there's people coming to see what happened here, though. So instead, I'm going to kind of run back with all these babbling nobles into the spice pantry. Nope, I don't want them to see the thread. I'm just going to kind of run and like duck behind a table over here.
Alright, easy enough to do. You can actually...
I guess a hide action,
yeah,
technically.
you can do the hide action. Give me a stealth check. Meanwhile, Nomad, it's back to you.
90 sessions in, and I'm taking my first hide.
I was wondering if I can move this cone kind of like this, so that it's
yeah.
half of it.
You can definitely tell that if it's only covering half of it, it will at least have some degree of magical mobility on the part of it that's out of it. You're not sure what that really means, but you know it'll be more effective if it's fully contained. But this is still going to hurt it a lot.
Cool. How about instead, I'm going to keep it completely bathed in it, but
yeah,
takes an action to like face the cone according to the stat block.
It sure does.
So I can ready an action to face the cone away if someone wants to attack it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just give it a little bit of butt for
Yep.
it to hit.
So you're ready in action to kind of flick the cone off of it if somebody else needs it away to make an attack.
A little bit, just enough where it's still in the cone, but
Sure.
hard that they can hit.
I like
That's
it. I'll say give me a dexterity check as your weird new form.
check what this dex. It's same as my regular form.
Perfect. This is basically determining how many quick flicks away I'm allowing you to squeeze into a single ready to action. Okay, excellent.
Sure.
I'll say that you're able to do it for any two attacks that you want.
Oh, any 2 attacks?
Any two attacks or spells. And then after the second one, you can choose to either flick it back on or leave it off entirely for everybody else to use it. But
Sure.
for now, that brings it to Vasu.
Okay, so I'm not in an anti-magic field right now, right?
Not currently because the wall blocks it with line of sight.
But I can still see the spider?
Sure can. Although you can tell it is fully inside of this thing, at least for the moment.
Do I know enough about magic? Like, can I attack from the outside of that and still hurt it?
Absolutely, but when the attack goes in, all of its magical properties will be lost. It'll just be a normal attack. Unless the cone is pulled away real quick when you do it.
Okay.
Question
Yes.
for Vasu and for me, just because I'm curious. Monks have that thing that makes their unarmed strikes count as magical for the purposes of overcoming magical resistances. So they count as magical for the purposes of are they actually magical?
I have always kind of ruled that they are able to do that because of ki, and ki is a type of magic.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
So if you want to beat it, I can flick this away real quick.
If you don't mind. It looks like
Sure.
it's awful beat up.
It's my reaction.
All right, you do know that, or you do see, Vasu, that as soon as you start to go in for the attack, this strange thing that Nomad has turned into looks away for just a moment, long enough for you to make your strike.
Cool.
Or this is
Oh my
Nice.
goodness! Holy shit! 29 points of damage. All right, it's still up, but that was a big hit, straight into the side of this eyeball. That one, unfortunately, is no good.
I saw the green again and I got excited.
Right.
Bonus attack. I'm gonna kick it.
All right.
I'm gonna kick some fire at it.
That one's a
And-
solid hit for 14.
And give me a strength save.
Did you say 2 attacks or 2 people attacking?
I'll just say 2 actions worth of attacks. So this will be one of them.
Okay, this is one.
Strength save, but it's not super great at those.
If you'd rather, I could just stun it again.
Oh boy.
But no, it is pushed back 10 feet and knocked prone.
Oh,
Oh, hey, you don't have to move it anymore.
nobody is probably going to have to move it at all because it's been flung back into the anti-magic field. Vasu, you know what? You guys can each roll half. Vasu, give me 68, and Nomad, give me 68. So
Terrible rules, Vasu.
the two of you kind of coordinate. So Nomad swings this anti-magic cone like a baseball bat, and you chuck this thing like a baseball into the bat. And when it hits this cone again for the second time, it just evaporates in a blink. There is not even fanfare. It is almost anticlimactic as it just blinks out of existence. And with that, with Elise in the back kind of trying to stabilize this cultist, everything begins to go not quite quiet, but at least calm. You hear these nobles huddled up in the kitchen trying to figure out what's going on. Outside, you hear wailing and screams, but everything is at least not violent and dangerous currently.
I should probably turn back.
I'm going to turn to Uno and be like, will you stay with us for a bit longer at least?
Yeah, she'll nod.
This was a
I'll
6
stabilize
level.
this kobold.
All right, excellent. Give me a medicine check because Elise is struggling a little bit. Oh no. She'll try.
Can I make my way over there?
There we go. Okay, she's at least able to staunch the bleeding. You're able to get there after about a round nomad. Change back out of that form.
It takes like a dash for me to get there anyway. So.
Yep. It's going to make its first death save. It's failure, but you guys can all three give me a round of medicine checks to try to stabilize him.
I think it's fine. We can do it. Yeah.
There we go. Gale is able to kind of finish the job. Gale, having plenty of experience with all of this, you're able to kind of figure out where most of the injuries are, how to staunch them, and keep them at least from immediately kicking the bucket. You can also immediately tell, as you're starting to get his wounds dressed, that he has big old surgical scars running down the center of his chest, and signs that there is a large, slow-beating heart inside of him, similar to the one that was found inside of Uno's old body.
Do the other bodies have that as well?
Yes. Yeah, you've seen it in all of the cultist bodies that you've seen so far.
Start harvesting those hearts. The dead ones, at least.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, easy enough. Give me, I guess, a medicine check. It's gruesome and grotesque, but yeah, after about an hour or so, you're able to basically carve out these enormous
It's fine.
void dragon hearts that have been implanted into these cultists.
We need to decide if we're just gonna tell them what happened, tell them all the truth.
Like,
Think
perhaps
they'll believe us?
They'll believe Elise at least. Maybe.
Will they? I look at Elise.
They might. Well, can Elise talk?
Oh, right. Fuck.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, shit, hang on. That makes this
See how long
complicated.
it lasts?
Yeah,
Okay.
how long does this last?
I'm gonna need to identify what the hell happened to her.
Flick, for your record keeping, mark
You lost smell.
mark down that you were unable to taste or smell for a week.
Wonderful.
And Elise tries to talk and cannot. And she's not really sure whether these people will, accept what she tells them, especially since she can't say it.
Don't worry, I'll connect to her mind and share it with everyone else.
Let me try this real quick. Gonna go up to Elise and we had the catnap. Yep, that's what happened. Okay.
Yep.
1 second. I really think I'd remember what level the spell is by now.
Okay, let me double check.
See if it's occurred. That web is still there?
It is still lingering there, but you do see that it is kind of receding over time. For real, yeah.
And also being like, it wasn't us, it was these cultists that we're currently hanging out with.
Yeah. Moat, you weren't here, but Nomad currently looks like just kind of a Sphinx cat tabaxi.
Gotcha. Got confused because you were just a gross eye tentacle monster a second ago.
Yeah.
That still happened. I don't know how this guy's self works with that because it was active the entire time.
Alright, Flick. As you begin to interface with this effect, searching for any signs of a curse or any occultism that might be dispellable, you don't find anything. Or at least nothing. You're able to find the effect easily. But your attempts to counter it are just not strong enough. Whatever this is, it is stronger than Remove Curse.
Dang, okay.
Oh, we'll have to find the Greater Restoration, I guess. But she can't cast it because she's. We'll fix her. And you. If you're missing anything.
Yeah, I can't really smell anything right now or taste anything. I wonder though. Meta, I rolled 2d6. Or 2d Yeah, 6. I'm wondering what else I lost.
Maybe one was taste and one was smell? Or maybe it was,
I thought taste and smell were like connected, and if you didn't have one, you couldn't really do the other. But
Do we want to try getting rid of the? But it's
Um,
still there.
How about
Oh, it's receiving. Okay.
Flick? How about you hold the spool and try to cast from it?
Nordo is holding the spool and has not
Yeah.
given it back yet.
Yeah, but like to Flick rather. I don't
could
know if
try-
that's
I could try it. I mean, Moat said it made him feel more empowered, and he didn't really use any of his magic up. But I don't know if it's going to make it a more powerful spell, really. Is that alright if I give it a try, Nordo? I know you still will hold on to that, probably.
He just kind of. Yeah, he'll hand it to you. He'll hand it to you.
Okay.
As you hold it, Flick, you can definitely tell that it's magical. It feels very powerful. But what do you do?
I'll try casting Remove Curse again to see if it feels different with this.
All right.
Try grasping the thread.
Alright.
Yeah, when you hold the thread, it definitely lights up a little bit, like it's kind of reacting to your touch. But when you try to cast the spell, you don't notice anything unusual. It spins the mana as normal. Your spell doesn't seem to be any stronger. You're able to find the effect easily enough, but you're not able to overcome it. It doesn't feel any different to you.
Okay, so it does spend the mana though, so I'm down another spell slot.
Correct.
Okay. Well, that didn't work.
Hmm.
I guess my magic's different than Mode's. But
Might
here you
be.
go.
This comes from a divine source. But
Although
also,
you can have this back.
Alright, cool.
and yours comes from an infernal source, but also some aberrant force. Perhaps it's picky. In theory, it should.
Perhaps.
It's the weave itself, basically.
I think it's because it's not being spooled through like a portal. Doesn't have any energy to.
That's possible. It probably pulled energies from across the planes. And here it's only this plane. Elise, what's this pool? By the way.
Oh boy, she looks at it and she will actually kind of reach into one of her belt pouches, and she pulls out a little vial of water. And she just kind of points to the vial and points down to that and kind of indicates that they're the same thing.
Oh, can you talk in my head? Or have you lost that ability as well?
You try to connect with her, and she tries to like respond. Let me double check. I'm gonna double check the wording of this.
Was she Uno'd? This a weird soul fracturing thing?
It's difficult even in here. But yes, I think you hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh good. This is holy water, said to be from Styx. Sometimes when important people die, they do a ceremony, put the body in the water.
From Styx.
That's what they say.
Is that why the portal they used led to here?
Maybe.
Styx is a different part of the planes.
I've heard that it connects to the afterlife somehow. I don't know if that
I feel like the
important.
afterlife connects to all planes. Or maybe there's a different afterlife for each.
Maybe.
It's just we don't have to theorize. Longy just pats the kobold on the head. Extract so much information from you.
I think we should maybe go outside, face this head on before we get caught in here with our pants down. Makes our story a
Can
little
we
bit harder to
collect these
believe.
It's as evidence?
Collect the what?
It's the cultists as evidence?
Yeah, easy enough. They are, if you have a way to carry 4 humanoids around, that's easy enough to do.
Just deal with the heads, really.
So I can sling a couple over my shoulders.
All right, it's easy enough to do. You sling a couple over your shoulders, and you, over that time, you do see that this web eventually recedes and disappears into nothing.
Good. Fuck that web. It steals people's hearts, souls. You mentioned Samson Tomarello. I don't know if Flix mentioned this though. But do you feel like it's damaged your soul somehow?
I mean, I don't think so. I feel like I'd feel that.
Just look on the bright side. Now you got no reason to eat them donut nuts for a week. Might be able to get it out your system.
I don't think he's ever eaten them too much.
I did eat them for a while. Good
For a
point.
while.
Can you guys imagine a better curse than to not have the terrible torture of being able to taste food? You could just eat, like, perfectly healthy, I don't know, whey
Yup.
and kale and shit. And
And you could take shots like no other.
Do you still get texture though?
Yeah.
probably.
So just
Probably.
slimy.
You could still smell it though.
No, he doesn't even smell.
No, I meant like if you didn't have taste, you'd still have smell.
Yeah, but he doesn't have the smell either. He's lost his taste and smell.
I feel like taste and smell are too connected to just to lose one. I feel
I
like
think
if you
that's why
lose
he
one,
lost
you
both.
lose both. It's that or one will severely dull the other if you don't have it.
We'll see a way to fix that in the long run. But for now, the queen is dead. Elise, who is next in line?
She gives you a look and says, I mean, I was technically first in line.
My condolences, by the way. Sorry if that came late.
No, it's okay. She was... I don't like to see it, but she was an idiot.
Oh, then I retract my statement.
Well, I like the statement still.
Oh, I return it to you then. If you wish, we can question her body. But if you are next in line, what now? Will the people answer to you? Or will they try to behead you?
I don't know. In this crisis, I don't know what the people will think at all. I don't know what happened here. They may want me
Well-
dead. I abandoned all of this.
This is a state of emergency. What we need to do now is find water and bring it to the people who are just waking up. Where is the water?
There's an oasis just out front in front of the mastaba.
Okay. I am slow, so everyone else I'll try to make my way there with everyone. And see if we get harried by anyone.
As you guys start to make your way out the front, you do see that this guard is now awake and active. But he he falls back in fear and shock, unsure what's going on. He scrambles himself back into a corner and he holds the spear in front of him, just kind of trembling and shaking it at all of you as you pass by. Doesn't say anything. It's up to you if you want to interact with him.
Do not be alarmed.
Does Nomad still have all his weird tentacle legs?
You
They're
changed
gone now.
back, right?
Oh, okay, because that would be terrifying to
Yeah.
come back to.
Yeah, he just looks like a Sphinx cat currently.
I do
Notably,
say do not be alarmed.
when Uno starts to walk out, he points the spear towards her most of all.
Don't worry, she is our captive now. And then he holds up a few of the other heads.
She, when you say this, she looks down and pulls the gag back up and puts it into her mouth real quick.
See, captive. Does anyone have a length of rope?
Yeah.
The easiest way to carry heads is to knot a rope through the throat and out the mouth.
God.
Kind of like beads. In history,
he's
it's the
right.
best way to collect them. See, he knows. Rest. You are malnourished and dehydrated.
One of you give me a persuasion check. Somebody.
Who's the-
I don't know if I can salvage that, so
I can try.
That's all you know, Matthew.
I've been talking to everyone with telepathy.
I'll go. I'll try and calm them down.
Here, I'll take the second. I'm not very good at it though. Hey,
All right.
average.
Gale, thankfully, you have this kind of reassuring aura about you. He's still terrified. He's still not sure what to believe, but at the very least, this guard seems to believe that you mean him no harm, and that Uno is like actually your captive, and you guys aren't working with the cultists. You're able to explain like, we don't look like them. We just beat them up. We're carrying out the injured to see what's going on. He's like, all right. The battle. Is there anyone alive? Is there anyone alive in there?
There's some,
No.
some folks hiding in the pantry. I want to check on them.
He nods. He seems reassured that there is something for him to do in all of this. He scrambles to his feet and he starts to run. Okay, I can do that. I can do that. Yes, yeah. And he just kind of runs back up to see if he can start helping over in the kitchen area.
Let's see if we can find and maybe save the people down the lower tiers.
The
So I feel like they've all died.
As you start to continue your way out, the next person that you are stopped by is a small group of nobles, kind of poking their heads out of this archway from in the garden courtyard. And at the very back of them, you do see that one of them is Elise's mother-in-law, who locks eyes with Elise, and then just pushes her way through the crowd and up to Elise and throws her arms around her. Elise tries to speak but can't.
I include her in the telepathy.
Even when she's included in the telepathy, she is not able to get any words out. She breaks down. They both just begin to just try to comfort each other. They're trying to make some sense of all of this. They hug and they cry and they spend a little bit of time just trying to, make sure that the other is okay. But she motions for the rest of you to go on and do what you need to do, and she's going to take a little time.
I take some notes and I keep going. The Mustaba, she said.
Yeah.
That's this place.
Just down here?
No, like this whole right. In fact, this whole building is the Mastaba.
Correct.
Oh, well, where's the water then?
Once you are out, it's easy enough to see. There's a little bit of a winding path that leads kind of through the market district, and then to a large, brilliant oasis in the middle of this nicer part of town. And you can see that there is a massive crowd of people that have already made their way over there. They aren't bothering with buckets and things. They are like hands and knees, parched throat, on the verge of death by dehydration, just gorging themselves on water. But
Drink slow or you will vomit.
It
Instructs.
it is a large oasis, and they, there's enough to go around. There's nobody to stop you if you try to go up and get some for yourself. Nordo, what's up?
Just really quick, as Nomad is writing down notes on Elise having an emotional reunion with her mother-in-law, Nordo will approach him and presents him with the spool again. Say, this belongs to you.
Belongs to us.
And he looks for a moment over at Elise and Elise's mother-in-law and to your notepad. Says, you spend all this time trying to figure out how to understand the way people feel and how to care about people. That shit you just pulled back in there ain't it. And walk out the door.
Also,
You could have died. We didn't know what happened to you. We all thought maybe we was gonna die. I had to tell Vasi what to tell Leah if I died.
you have my apologies. I thought you had faith.
No, I ain't never had any of that.
At least in me. The things I've done for all of you. The things even gods will not do for us. I have done. feel like I have earned maybe a little bit of faith. But this was my mistake. I will try to be more detailed in my instructions. It was just a sudden. It was hard to describe, Nordo. Specifically, identifying this object. Admittedly, sanity frayed, and a moment of irrationality took hold. And I am ashamed of that.
Look, I know you was just trying to learn. I know you meant well. But you got people that care about you now. And that's its own sort of weight to carry.
It is a weight I am getting used to still. It used to be just Ace and I. And we work separately every now and then. We know what to expect of each other. I did not consider everyone else yet. I will start that now. But in my defense, the answer to saving these people was inside there. And holding the spool, it seemed that I had the answer. And acting in haste had been the priority. Perhaps I could ask what happened when I left after a while. I was only in there for, at most, give or take, 15 minutes.
Oh, it was a whole lot longer on our end. We sat around arguing about whether to go in after you or not, or whether you were dead or alive, or whether we were going to die when we tried to go after you. Where you were. Tried sending in animals we was looking through and shoe, and tried just jumping in and had to fight off a whole bunch of giants. And I ain't trying to make you feel bad or nothing. That ain't what I'm getting at. Just if you're gonna do something like that again, don't do it alone.
Understood. I can feel the mire of guilt welling up. I know this was not your intention, but I feel it is important that I feel this. Brother Nordo, I need you to strike me very hard in the face.
Oh no.
As much as I'd like to after all that nonsense. I think you're gonna need your stamina.
Oh, thank goodness. I would have died instantly.
Yeah, you'd have been fine. I've seen you take way worse punches than I can give.
I have seen you do that thing to the kobold. Granted, it was not one strike, but maybe 4.
Just, I ain't the best with words, but tell Ace to teach you about the buddy system.
The buddy system
Always have
usually
your
was-
exit buddy.
Yeah. my
Do
exit
you
buddy
have
was
your exit buddy?
Ace. Unfortunately, Ace wasn't there as well to tell people,
Oh, yeah.
don't worry, he's gonna come out eventually.
Yeah, I was distracted by a bird.
Yeah, her name was Uno.
Is she's still alive?
Possibly your sister. I imagine you're still talking to her now.
Oh, I took a break to eavesdrop on your guys' conversation.
Oh, that's right. How is Uno?
Uno is following along, and Uno currently has not her spell book, but another book open. And she's just
Oh.
kind of writing or doodling the whole time. You're not entirely sure.
Oh, yes. Nordo, do you think you could draw us up some pictures of maybe like cities, mountains, just random things so that she could try to communicate with us through pictures?
Yeah, I can work on that.
Maybe just
Let me.
tiny and she could just point to them like a Ouija board, but with pictures.
Perhaps we could
Let's.
also purchase a map to help her point out where she's from and things like that.
That would also be nice.
Wait, we do have a world map. It's fine.
Do we?
I feel like we do.
I feel like I should address the Tarask in the room here. Do we
Tell?
trust Uno at all? Why? Why are we trusting her all of a sudden?
Oh no, we're not trusting her at all. She's just very useful to us right now.
She gives a thumbs up from the back.
Nomad waves at her silently.
We have information that we can get from her, and it seems, at least for the moment, perhaps our goals align. I don't know. I don't know how long that will be, though.
You also seem to have a personal attachment connection with her, and I hope this is important to you.
Yeah, I think we both are thinking it, but neither of us really knows.
I just hope she ain't trying to use that against you, little Nork. Because we walked into that room ready to kill whatever people were responsible for all this, that just made a bunch of people starve to death in the street.
Yeah.
And she threw up her hands as soon as it became clear she couldn't win. So I don't think we got any reason to think anything other than she's just trying to save her own tail in all this.
Survival instinct is very important in this case, but we do
Yeah.
have this friend here. I say friend.
I mean, we did trust that weird king man, remember? The one we thought was an assassin.
The Burger King?
The Burger King? Yeah.
He was quite helpful to us.
He was quite helpful.
Well,
I feel like I trust him more than some people in our own party sometimes. Or at least, Uno here has more communication skills than some of them.
Wow!
Exactly.
Spitting fire.
I ain't saying that. I'm saying there's a difference between trust and being useful. King was useful, but I never trusted him half as far as I could throw him. Same goes here. I ain't saying that Uno doesn't have some information that we need and a real damn good reason to give it to us. But
the difficulty here is getting the information from her.
I'll work on some pictures for her to point out. But I think first let's worry about getting food and water to some of these people.
Right.
Right.
And Moat's been holding his hand up in the air for quite a while too.
Moat, what's up?
No big deal. Are people in the crowd like injured at all, or is it mostly just like we're hungry and dying?
Yeah, injured is not quite the right word for it, but there are people that have like bed sores because they've been laying on their side for days and days. They look parched. They're definitely famished. They don't look to be healthy, but it doesn't look like they were part of a fight, I guess. Actually, you know what? Give me a perception check.
Perception.
May I assist him in this endeavor?
Sure.
Oh Christ.
It's okay, Moat. My perception is not much better.
Moat, looking over, everybody seems to be in bad physical health, but not injured as if they were in a battle or anything like that. None of them have wounds. Nordo, though, as you scan a little bit beyond, you can see that there are groups of people that are approaching from the southeast. And it's actually a fairly large group of people that are making their way up. And in that group, you do see that there are injured people. There are injured guards as well as injured citizens, not nobles, definitely people of lower class. They are poorly dressed, they're dirty, and there are a lot of injured among them, and they're all working together to get up to the oasis currently. There's a couple of city guards that are helping to carry like a very poor beggar woman that clearly something has happened to her leg, and they're trying to get her to the oasis. But then behind there's a group of 4 or 5 just like farmers or animal handlers of some sort that are working to kind of like hold a couple of injured soldiers over their shoulder as they make their way up to the oasis. There's a large drove of people coming up from the lower part of town, and several of those people are injured, but they seem to not be fighting each other currently.
Well, Nordo has no clue what a riot is and has only seen like 2 cities in his life, so he probably doesn't think too much of that.
Do you point it out at all, or?
Yeah. There's a bunch of people down the way, Moat. Looks like poor folk, near as I can tell. Hungry folk, hurt folk.
If he like points it out and it seems obvious that they're injured, I'll try to not like literally run up, but like get to the crowd with the aura vitality and just kind of bounce around in the crowd. And then bonus action, do the 2d6, and then main action, throw out some lay on hands and just try to get people in not death's doorstep order.
Absolutely.
I'll stick close with them.
Go and give me those healing rolls, and then give me a persuasion check with advantage.
So, how long does this last? So there's aura vitality, and if I need to throw out some like lay on hands to save anyone else, I will.
Sure. Nordo, you can absolutely help anybody that has any way to like contribute to healing people and taking care of people. I guess we can go around and you can just let me know how you're contributing. Mode is doing some healing and some organization. Nordo, give me some medicine checks.
Could I help Nordo with this medicine check so it's advantage?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Put on your doctor mask.
Put on these gloves. Perfect.
If we're talking long term, I'd probably like cook up some food for people too. But...
Yeah. You can give me a cooking check as well if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll just help get people like to the oasis and get water to the
Perfect. Kind of hauling
Water
people
damage.
back and forth, carrying people who need carried.
My full
going-
attention's on Uno.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to go through the city after helping here and just kind of connect with a bunch of minds within 240 feet and like direct them carefully.
All right.
Very, very to the point voice and instruction. Please move in single file. They're injured. Are you injured? People who are not injured, please help this person. They are in this location.
Okay, awesome. So you kind of handle logistics in addition to helping with medical. You also brought it up earlier, but you're kind of like warning people to not overdrink because like oversaturation is 100% a way that people die when they are too thirsty and they like drink themselves to death.
Slow down.
You help people to kind of pace themselves to not overhydrate.
If we need more water, I've got my jug and I can make some more of that.
Oh, absolutely. That helps a lot. Not necessarily because there's a short of water. The Oasis has a lot. But there's not a good way to transport it to a lot of places. And,
Right.
being able to kind of produce it in a second location, especially over by like the medical tents, is super helpful.
Can I go into the? Sorry, I'm gonna go and violate Nordo's sacred space.
Uh-oh.
I assume that there are some barrels and things that everything is kind of contained in.
Within the ship for like all the cooking supplies and stuff.
No, not the ships, or the palace kitchen.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They have lots of storage stuff. Some of which Nordo has already like pulled out because they contain bunches of expensive spices, but there's a lot more to get.
Cool. I want to grab 3. You know what? Fuck it. Let's make it 4. I'm gonna grab 4 barrels that I think are watertight. I'm gonna strap 2 of them to the sides of Toto. I'm gonna activate the Arcturus suit, take 1 myself, and I'm gonna cast, or I'm gonna summon Tin Man to take the 4th one. And each of them is gonna take a barrel, fill it with water, and then just go throughout the city and hand out start rationing it to people.
Okay, excellent. All right, excellent. Actually, that wouldn't even matter. Sick. Yeah, that's a very effective plan. You're again kind of working with logistics, trying to make sure that water gets distributed to everyone that needs it. Rounding up people that can't make it there on their own, and trying to make sure that they're taken care of.
Yeah, I'm mostly. The 3 of us are probably going to go towards the lower areas first, just because they're going to have the hardest time getting up to the Oasis.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to start there and kind of start directing people up that I think can move, and anyone that can't, I'll help out.
All right, and when you get down there, you're somewhat braced to see it. But what you do find are signs of a deadly riot, a riot that has gone well into open conflict. There are a few injured and dead guards that are on the street. They look like they've had several days to decompose. But what you mostly find are a lot of dead and injured civilians that are clinging to pitchforks and just basic weaponry. Some of them have scimitars, some of them have spears. There was clearly a terrible riot that was happening before all of this started. And notably, all of those bodies are still present. However, you do also find some survivors down there, and you're able to kind of get resources down to them and help them get collected up into the upper city. Okay, excellent. That is 4. Anybody else have any other way to contribute?
Don't think so. I think that's it.
All right.
If I summon Lucy, can she go help bring people?
Yeah, absolutely.
Carry them.
Yeah, for sure. She's able to do that easily enough. There are several times where she struggles to gain the trust of someone. But with a do
She's
not
an angel.
with a do not be afraid here and here and there, you're able to kind of convince people that you mean well. And also, she can literally just heal with a touch, and that is enough to kind of win them over and encourage them that she is
once.
good. Yep.
But,
Fairness, the last angels that they encountered didn't help
where
them
are
and
they, by the
tried
way?
to collect their souls.
You have not seen any signs of the Angels of Zuwaner since you've gone in last time.
I'm not sure they even saw the angels. This one looks completely different, though. It's more horrifying in a way.
All right. For a long time, you guys kind of just work with people to mitigate damage and to make sure that people are safe. And you've all done a tremendous job with it. Moat, eventually they kind of come up to you. There is a tabaxi, kind of sphinx-like. He says, I don't know who all of you are. We were ordered to go down and enforce the border, and then things broke out. And then that's all I can really remember. It's like I had a dream that just kind of snapped into my mind, and when I woke up, people were dead or dying all around me. You guys showed up a few minutes later, and you seem to have solved something. What happened?
Oh, boyfriend, you have barked up the wrong tree.
Understand that we are do understand that we are lacking in information just as much as you are. We arrived here and everyone was already in a stupor, dying from dehydration and malnourishment and exposure.
Yeah, all I can really say is we don't quite know what's happening, but everyone should be safe for now while we figure it out.
This is currently simply a state of emergency and everyone must be tended to for now.
Alright, I understood. There were reports of an attack at the palace. While this was going on, we were starting to do a retreat, and then the rebellion, they kind of caught our flank off guard, and then that's the last that I remember. What happened at the palace? Is anyone alive in there? Cultists.
At least as far as the robes can tell.
Those are the have you guys hidden the bodies, or do you keep them with you and tied up and
I
stuff?
have the heads.
So he's got a whole kobold slung over his shoulder.
Yeah,
Okay.
that one's still alive, right?
Yeah.
Have we tied him up and gagged him because he's a spellcaster?
Probably
In case
ought
he
to.
wakes up. Yeah.
I
This is a
assume
good
that you
idea.
have, yeah.
Who's really good at that? I imagine Ace and Flick
Flick,
are.
yeah. Alright. Well, it looks like you've dealt with them well enough. The royal family.
2 survive.
I see. Well, alright. We'll have to make some sense of all this, and
Yeah, well, what is the protocol for a dead queen?
oh boy, well, I'm not a magistrate. I'm just a guard. I don't know, that's way over my pay grade. We'll have to talk to the knight captain, maybe, or the head priest.
I think he's dead too. And also, that one is also dead.
Oh boy. He lets out a big old sigh and kind of shakes his head. Oh, at the very least, I'm pretty sure I saw my commander around here somewhere. I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Something good. Establish a chain of command.
Yeah, we'll find out whoever's at the top of all of this and still in one piece and figure out how to move on.
Right. I'm going to start preaching now.
Before Nomad starts preaching,
Uh-huh.
I would like to try to get the group gathered together somewhere, at least out of earshot of the rabble.
I don't
So-
think I have enough pamphlets for all these people.
Not to tell you your business, friend Nomad, but to try to look at this a little bit big picture. We came here for necklaces that were going to help us from being detected and seen, and
Oh yeah,
came here and
Elise would
found
have
all
those.
this. Yeah, we just came here, and I don't know that we should be passing around pictures of ourselves around this town. We've already really made our mark here, and
Oh,
wow,
do
there's
not be alarmed. The pamphlets do not have my picture on them. Just my
Well,
mark.
yeah, but Nomad, these people just got like royally screwed by a god. I don't think that they're in the mood for gods right now, or
It
pamphlets
seems
about
to
gods.
me that they are in the market for a new god.
They might be. You don't want to get them on the rebound stage, Nomad.
That sounds like a good idea, though.
Rebounds just don't work out.
They are opportunistic predators.
my point was that there's dangerous people looking for us, and they're gonna find a whole lot easier time finding us the more of a name we make for ourselves in this town. I kind of think we should get what we came here for and get out. The people are safe now, at least. Safe
Certainly.
enough.
Well, let us go break Elise's tearful reunion with her mother. She certainly has had enough time by now.
I think so. I've done all this cooking.
We've been out here for. I've probably run out of my disguised self at this point. And I'm back to my fully armored self, which is less trustworthy looking because it looks like a skeletal armor dude.
Yeah, but at this point, you've been healing people for an hour, so I think
Yeah.
they'll be fine.
Sort of giving directions.
During that time, does Uno show me what she's doodling?
Yeah. As while everybody else is kind of helping to deal with logistics and healing and organization and getting some control over the situation, you sit down with Uno, and she begins to slide over papers to you. And actually, let me just fucking grab them, so you can help decide which ones she works on next.
Is it another puzzle game?
I don't know about that. I've once again forgotten to upload these ahead of time, so here we go.
I went to this town nearly full of mana. Well, slightly above, halfway.
Best I can give you is 3. But if you want, I can give you 3 mana later.
These are precious to me because they are brother manas.
It's more special than regular mana.
If I make it myself, it's not very special.
Yours just tastes delicious, is what you're trying to say.
He tries to make the lip smacking sound but can't.
Just
Never make
Stop
mouth noises in mic again.
Stop that.
Yup.
okay. I see a coin and a bear, which equals a drop with wings. Dragon rock dragon. Maybe dragon who's underseller. What's that place called again?
I just need
Alright,
everyone
there's
to
a-
make sense of this until I can cast detect thoughts again.
There's a shiny butthole in this mountain range. There's a water angel who needs to get money
and a
a
bear
s-
with that cat
and-
with the top hat.
and a mustache. So I think it's
Holy
from that
water.
board game. Buy everything and then overprice it. I forget what it's called.
And then this one's probably Dragonfly's Trench. The one at the bottom.
That's Hell's Fly
Right.
Trench.
Hell's Fly
Dragon's
Trench.
Fly
Yeah.
Trench.
The water with the wings is probably holy water. That's probably
Okay.
the Styx pool.
That
we were
makes
just at.
sense.
I don't know what that stinky heart is though.
Could it have
Stinky
been-
heart.
Could it have been the orb that
Is
had
the
all
Elbrat
the?
mine?
Yeah, that could be the Elbrat mind. And they all lead to the middle part. Death?
Hold on, is the one on the bottom left? That's what was that? What was that town in the Underdark we went to?
Air cage?
Air Cage. Yeah, that's Air Cage. So Dragon's Fly Trench, and then that was how we got underground, maybe
Why are the kobolds at the top high?
because they're being hypnotized,
Okay.
controlled.
Yeah, that when we saw them, I don't know if you were here, game, but like,
I don't think I was.
okay, that's fair. So we scried on Leo's big crush, and she was kind of zonked, and everyone in Air Cage, was it Air Cage? No, not Air Cage. The place
That's right.
Sasnak. That's the place. Sasnak. Everyone was zonked. Kind of just doing things like zombies.
Okay. Maybe we should pick one to elaborate on. One that we maybe should we use one to confirm or use one to just kind of learn more? I guess we probably should confirm. I'll ask her like the one at the top if that's from Sasnak.
Yes. She nods her head for the top one.
Is there more you want to tell me about Sasnak?
She will nod yes, and she just kind of starts scribbling.
Okay. Yeah, so one problem thing is she already, it sounds like they already know where our families are, so I don't know how helpful these necklaces are really going to be for us. I guess we're going to move them, aren't we?
I say the idea was to move them and put them in somewhere. He looks at looks at Uno and looks at everyone else. Put them somewhere. And
We'll just
keep
keep them
detection.
in. We'll just bring them here to Unmirage. It's safe here.
Yes, we'll definitely bring them to Unmirage when we're ready. That's where we will hide them.
Let's actually hide them in Unmirage.
The mind games. Fake it, but then you actually do it.
Or that you fake that you're actually going to do it after faking that you were going to do it, and then you just don't do it.
Also, Moat, we've been uncharacteristically quiet the last few weeks, but we started flying this way, which is opposite direction of Belmoral, but I assume that you'd like to go get your folks. We talked about maybe doing some teleporting about it.
Yeah, at some point, hopefully sooner rather than later, I'm gonna need to go do that. Uno, do you have anything that belonged to Ozzy?
She thinks for... Or yeah, go ahead.
You might want to be a bit more specific about which Aussie.
That's valid. The big guy, hold on, I forget his name immediately.
Ozymandias?
Ozymandias, yep.
She thinks for a moment, and then she kind of like does a, eureka moment thing. And she runs over to Nordo, who has all of the cultist corpses either slung over his shoulder or like piled up somewhere. And she finds her own corpse. And she kind of just like flings open the robe to the big old open impaled chest and points to the mostly destroyed weird dragon heart that is in the corpse's chest. And she kind of like shrugs.
I guess I can try it. I'll try to dig it out.
Yeah. So Nomad already got a lot of these hearts out, but that one comes out easily enough. It's so damaged that it's like just...
How many specifically do we get?
There would be 5 total Void Dragon hearts, one of which is very severely damaged.
That's the one Moat got, right?
Correct.
Well, assuming this really did belong to him, whenever you guys think is appropriate, I can turn it into a ward that should make it a lot harder for him and anyone under him to follow us.
Excellent.
Wait, you can do that?
This is
I
something.
can that I
Wow.
learned right before I disappeared off the face of the planet.
When you went really quiet, I think you were reflecting inwardly on the things you've learned up to now,
Yes,
and
definitely.
suddenly you've come up with this new ability.
It's amazing. I was reflecting on everything I've learned, and there was just not that much there, so I had to like keep digging. I was like, surely I've learned something.
That's why you were so quiet.
But yes, I will post it here, and whenever the group deems an appropriate time, I can do this. It's a lot of text, I'm sorry.
Oh boy, shield of the hearthfire.
Oh, this might be considered a magical item.
Well, it's
We-
broke, so
we can
maybe
always-
it's not.
If we take the gems out, does it? Or
Oh, the void heart counts as a still stone.
what if we? So we can't take the still stone out of it to make it normal.
There's no still stone in the heart. The heart itself is a still stone.
Gotcha.
Oversimplification, but close enough. It can be used in a way similar to a stillstone.
You didn't adopt one of those magic sucking kobolds, did you? Or Kuoto, did you?
I was about to say maybe I can try.
No, they wouldn't let me.
I don't like that mischaracterization of what happened, but okay.
I think that they was us.
Yeah, it was.
I think they would have come with me if I gave them a good enough explanation.
Can I grab onto one of them and just try to suck the magic out of it?
You kind of grab onto one and you give me a wisdom check, I guess.
Okay.
If we thoroughly destroy it, maybe the magic will leave it, and you can
It also doesn't have to be Ozymandias. I assumed, the higher up we can, make it up the chain and get something that belonged to someone, it's better in the long run, but
Do dragons consider people possessions?
She gives kind of a thumbs up.
Here you go. Take one of these corpses. Does it count as an object?
Though the good old is a corpse and
Yep,
an object.
Here we
Yeah.
are.
Well, Diema, we have your loom. You have to answer.
You kind of get the sense
Well, a shovel.
that this ritual is meant for like material objects. You get the sense that the corpse might not work well.
it also has to be worth a gold or hold sentimental value, and I'm guessing a dragon is not going to have sentimental value.
Oh, then we have to have. None of these
That's-
will work.
That's
Maybe
a
the
ore,
void
though.
heart?
It's bigger than a cubic
Hmm.
foot. It's heavier than bigger than a cubic foot.
Yeah, you're not wrong. It fits some of this.
Trouble is, Ozymandias is behind it all, but he's got at least 6, 7 people that we know of who is very powerful and working for him. I assume somebody's going to be able to do his dirty work for him.
Yeah, that's
Like
why I was hoping
Arthur.
to get Ozzy. It would get him and everyone under him.
Yeah, that would be great.
But that might not be possible.
Oh shit, yeah. Against the course allies and minions? Holy fuck.
Yeah.
This ability is dope.
I feel like, did the other bodies have still stones in them?
No, not like the other cultist bodies.
Yeah, it's just the heart, right?
Just the heart. Yep.
So it might have to be the heart specifically, and we could just try to remove the magic from it somehow. I feel like he might think that these hearts are his possessions.
So Ace, it takes her a long time. She's not a great artist, but as the rest of the party is kind of doing all of their relief efforts, about 2 hours later, she finishes another page of drawings, and she shows it to you.
These are wonderful, by the
Okay.
way.
Oh,
They are.
lion. Maybe it's a
Lion.
lion. Maybe it's a lion. Zuanu?
The lion is SSLC. That's the line at the top hat. That's Sylvan Savage Company.
Okay.
And those sweets are New Society staples.
So they worked with the dragon to make the
A concoction of some sort.
yeah. Oh, so they had the addictive food. Maybe
Yeah, the
they
same sort.
combined it with the magic to make
Oh
mind
my
control.
god, all of Saznek is fucked up on donut nuts.
We
That's
have
not-
to start attacking donut nut facilities as soon as we
Uh,
Told you all from the very beginning.
do you think this
You
is
were
is
right,
this
friend.
storm cellar?
There's
Is
a
that storm
storm on
cellar?
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they took the donut nut concoction to Storm Cellar, used it to control all the kobolds, and used them to
Mhm.
mine shit.
Baby gems,
The kobold are all
hearts for the dragon hearts.
Well, there's a bunch of question marks there, so maybe Uno doesn't know what they're mining.
Maybe
Yeah,
she
she
doesn't
kind of
know.
gives a weird shrug, like, I don't know, maybe.
Yeah.
Just getting them to do something.
still stones. Because they were. I could keep scrying on what's her name. Wish. Theo's girl.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good luck
Oh,
with
good
your
night.
sleuthing.
Good night.
I miss him already.
Me too. So the salvage savage used their addictive food. Is that what it is? Is that where it came from?
So, I mean, I don't know if it's actually the food, but
That's what I'm asking. You know.
Yeah, I think it's.
oh, gotcha.
She gives kind of like a, yeah, that's kind of the gist of it, close enough.
Okay. And you don't know what they're using the kobolds for, or why they're doing mind control.
Yeah, she nods.
Is this just supposed to be a dragon in general? Or is it supposed to be wait, hold on.
Asadirth.
Asadirth?
Yeah, she'll nod to that.
Do you know anything else that I should know about Storm Cellar and this?
She kind of like squints and thinks for a bit, but then she eventually like shakes her head.
Okay. So are we gonna do one page for each one?
She kind of like
Nice.
gives a little bit of a shrug and
Okay. All right. Let's just go clockwise, I guess. What? This orb, is it supposed to be the? Crap. He doesn't know that. He knows this stuff. I'm forgetful. The people from the person that we touched the orb with. What was it called again?
Elbrock Mind.
Yeah. Is it the Elbrock Mind?
she looks suddenly to you with like a like never heard of it, like what's that sort of face.
Oh.
That
What?
might be the Void Dragon Heart.
She shakes her head. No.
Do you want to draw more about this? So I
Yeah,
can get
she
more
gives
information?
she gives a bit of a nod and she like pulls out another fresh piece of paper and starts to
Is
draw.
that the shuttle?
No,
the
she shakes her head. No.
Yeah, what is that weird heart? Gauge.
It could be a shine, maybe.
Could be a shine.
Or
Um,
sheen?
She works very slowly though, and she's a bad artist, so you guys have a little time to kill while she works on the next page. Is there anything that you wanted to do here during that time?
Yeah. Can Moat lend his book to her for a moment? The book I made for him, so she can gain proficiency in fucking painter's tools. So she can use
Sure, to speed this up a bit.
Yeah.
I like it. What does she have to do? She has to read for 10 minutes? An hour?
If she can read, I think she has to be able to read for.
Oh, that's a good point.
So let's pull up that item. It's with Moat somewhere.
If that doesn't work,
yeah.
I can try to just help her to the extent that I can with
Yeah, think
my
for it.
artist proficiencies. I don't know how much I can really help her without like being
Yeah,
able to talk to her, but
that'll definitely help at least a little bit. If not necessarily with her producing the art, then at least being able to interpret what she's trying to get at. I'm very cool with that.
excellent. On that note, is there anything that I gleaned from these drawings so far that has not been gleaned already?
From the first one, you're pretty confident that weird skull in the middle is supposed to represent Ozymandias, and these are all like things that she knows about what Ozymandias wants from her and the plans that she knows about anyway.
Okay.
You would definitely recognize some of the symbols. That is a coin of Joaquin in the bottom left, and also the image of the SSLC. Top right doesn't really ring any bells to you. There are like maybe some similarities to the Elbrat mines that you've seen, like the fact that it's a sphere with patterns on it. But there was no big heart shape, and it was kind of, I don't know, it doesn't really match perfectly to that. You definitely can tell weird squiggly-eyed hypnotized kobolds. You've already kind of got that figured out. It looks like over on the left they're putting rocks into dragons, and you're able to kind of connect that to some of the things that you've seen with the stillborn dragons. Over in the bottom right, it looks like a cave, and it looks like, well, you've seen it at the Locust Temple. It looks like Viraled being kind of jabbed into a magic crystal and then destroying it, but you're not able to make sense of the cave or the weird drawing beneath it. So that's all you would really be able to glean from this one.
Gotcha.
What
So
about
So
the
if
other?
we, the note that Feck posted earlier also shows that there were people tasked with finding 6 items, which were DMS Loom, the Semblance Engine, Stage, Vacuum, God's Blood, and Formula. So I'm guessing each of these is one of those things. The God's Blood coming from NSS tracks with this like drop of water with wings on it.
Yeah, she kind of nods along the way. She's indicating that you're kind of following what she's throwing down. All right. I must read the book for a minute. Okay, that's not bad.
If they expend more charges though, they can read longer, get longer proficiency.
Alright, she will spend 2 charges, and it takes her longer than a minute to do it. She ends up kind of stumbling for a bit, and by the end of maybe 10 minutes or so, though, she has spent 2 charges to give herself 8 hours of proficiency with artist tools, which speeds this all up quite a bit.
I'm just going to kind of go around in a circle and just see if these are right. The bottom right, is that the void or the vacuum?
Yes.
Formula would be the kobolds.
Right.
God's
The
Blood is
God's blood. It's the one at the bottom left.
Yep.
DMS Loom is what we have.
Is the top right the engine? Semblance engine?
Yes.
And then putting rocks in the dragons the stage?
When you mention the stage, she taps in the bottom right again.
Okay, so the vacuum is the stage.
Yeah, she nods. And with her proficiency and with all the help that you've been giving her, she goes and gives you another page about 30 or 40 minutes later. And she... Let's see, there we go.
Oh, while this is going on, I'm going to go find Elise and just sort of see how she's going along and if we can get those trinkets.
The bedside manner. Sure.
Right.
You are able to find her easy enough. She's inside and she's talking with several of the nobles and especially with her mother-in-law. And
Can she talk?
no, fuck, you're right. She's just kind of, she's almost doing exactly the same thing as is happening out here. She's trying to explain with verbal tells and drawings and stuff like that. And actually, when you come back in, she will try to connect with you telepathically and be like, "Can I borrow you for a thank you?" And
Who do you want to be included?
She's cool with you including like all of the nobles here.
It's a little difficult sorting through so that the other people in that channel don't hear what's going on in here.
Honestly, anyone is fine. I don't think this is a secret. But she basically, over a little bit of time, tries to explain why she left and the fact that she didn't know if she should pick a side in all of this. And along the way, you get the impression from her mother-in-law that, like, well, good riddance. Like, fuck the nobles. Like, these people have always been assholes, even though she's, like, right next to all of her neighbors who are nobles. And there's, like, Elisa's got a little bit of a proud smile. Like, yeah, fuck these guys, you're not wrong. But at the same time, they are people, and there's, like, a disaster happening, and we need to figure out what's going to happen now. She's tremendously glad that they're both glad that the other is safe. Eventually, she does ask if she still has the amulet that was given to her. And the mother-in-law explains that she still has it and she keeps it in her little abode. And says that if you'll come with her, she can find it and give it to you. And starts to walk over towards the door in the side of the courtyard. And Elise starts to
Only
follow
one?
and motions for you to follow.
Yeah, I follow, and I guess I'm just gonna be with him for a while, and everyone else can do the mysterious notes.
Yeah, I accidentally closed it. Can you give it again?
Yes.
I wanted to see if like her art style changed after she gained proficiency.
It probably will actually get sloppier because I'm doing these on the fly now as you ask questions. But in character, they probably get better.
Are you taking pictures of these?
I just have Photoshop open.
Oh, that's cool.
Side note, if this gimmick ends up being a pain and slowing us down more than it's fun, I'll speed
I
things
like
up
it.
a
No,
little bit.
I'm into it.
Okay, alright, cool. I rolled... Well, I shouldn't. No peeks behind the curtains. Things are what they are. Cool.
Is that a Wizard of Oz joke?
Hey,
Hey!
pay no attention.
But yeah, this is the next page that she is able to slip out. And she points again
Could
to
you
the top right.
repost it? I accidentally
Oh,
closed
yes, sorry.
Oh, that's the underground city, isn't it?
So
Yeah.
that's the last question: is that Pleiades or is that
Underwater.
Hellfly Trench?
it. Which place is Pleiades again?
Pleiades is where the Deep Mother was, the like city
Gotcha.
she was overlooking.
She kind of gives a weird shrug like she hasn't heard either of those names, so she's not sure.
But it
She's
looks
not
like
heard Hellfly Trench.
Um,
Surprising.
yeah, she's never heard Hellfly's Trench.
it
Try
look-
saying underwater city with domes, bubbles.
Yeah, she'll give kind of like, oh yeah, that sounds right.
That's the one.
So it seems like whatever machine here will separate someone's body from their soul, and then put their, as no Lordo said earlier, puts their soul in a different body.
She gives a big old, yep, that sounds about right.
Is this thing like a? Does it look? Is it like an orb, or do you not know?
She kind of gives I don't know for sure, but that's kind of what I've been imagining it as, is the impression you
Okay.
get.
It's literally the thing Nomad touched.
Yeah, she just doesn't know what it's called. That's why she didn't understand what Elrond mind is.
I don't know. I don't think so.
When we were down there, I didn't sense like a city of aberrations, did I?
Yes.
I forget. It's been a hot minute since we.
There were
Okay.
aberrations fucking everywhere underwater. I don't think you really distinguished
While we were near
whether
the city.
whether they were like in the city or in the water. You know for sure they were in the water around it. You definitely detected some in the city too, for sure.
They were everywhere.
Yeah, we saw them
They
like
literally
patrolling the
attacked us
streets
in
of
the
the
city.
city, and they like chased us out, and that's when we had to
Yeah.
like fly through the wall of reef or coral or whatever.
Yeah, they were fucking everywhere.
So my headset died right as I finished my last sentence, and I just came back.
Yes,
Yeah.
you
There were
definitely
a
could
fuck-
tell there were a fuck
Okay.
ton of aberrations in the city.
Why?
Alright.
Why don't I have mod privileges here?
Do you want them for what?
I can kick people in this.
Is this underwater city? Is it an aberration city?
She gives like a, I don't know.
Okay.
I'd like to show Uno the note that says, I think her task was to find all of our friends and family, and where she's got everybody written out. Say, does Ozymandias or Ozymandias, whoever you're going to give this information to, do they have it? Did you give it to them yet?
She makes that like ooh face.
Yes, please don't murder me, face.
But then she eventually nods yes.
Okay.
Well,
Light some tobacco.
all right. Well, let's move on to the next one. It looks like it's a crevice and a stone being being put into a stone.
Yeah. Let's see. Is that one? I have that one ready.
Oh, I wonder if there's a giant stillstone down there that they're going to try to set off and cause a giant hole in
She
the earth.
gives a big old thumbs up.
Okay, is it underwater?
Um,
Or this? Do you know where it's at?
yeah, she'll start drawing.
Okay.
And she actually, partway through drawing, grabs a second piece of paper and spills the drawing out onto that one too. But after a little bit of time, actually, let's cut back into Nomad real quick. Nomad, as you pass through the door with Elise and her mother-in-law, you're taken to just kind of a quiet, simple little yard that has just a bunch of nice country around it. There's grass. It looks kind of like right on the edge of a desert grassland. There are trees all around it, and there are animals in the distance. And there's just a quiet little stone house with the fence around it. You can see that there's a big tree in the front yard, and there's a headstone, actually 2 headstones, one big and one small, under that tree. And there's a little stone walkway that leads up to the front door and kind of heads inside. And you're greeted by the smell of bread that seems to be just baking in a clay oven. And are eventually led to a little shelf where there is a statue, not like a bust, of several forms of Zuwanu. It is kind of like just a cube with a bunch of faces on it. And the mother-in-law looks at it, and she holds it up and spits on it. And she kind of like throws it down onto the ground, and it shatters. And inside of the shattered bust, there is a pair of amulets, each with kind of a bright red ruby in the middle of them. And they look very similar to the one that you've seen wrapped around Elise's wrist. Elise picks them up and telepathically through you says, "Thank you. We'll get you somewhere safe. You probably do you want to stay here? I know you wouldn't want to leave this place." And she kind of gives like a stubborn, "No, I'm not leaving. This is where I need to stay." They continue to have a conversation on the side, but they do hand the amulets to you to hold on to.
Spitting? Yeah, what's the spitting? Could I tell that she was angry at Zuan, or this is a part of what she needs to do to break the bust?
Give me an insight check.
Sure. I am learning people skills. This is like an offense, is it not?
It didn't seem to have any magical significance to you. It seems that it was kind of like a... You're not entirely... Like, she clearly doesn't... Like, the statue reminded her of something she doesn't like, and so she spat on it. But it didn't seem to be a necessary part of breaking it open.
He, like, specifically asked, like, hey, is it made of a specific kind of clay that you're required to spit on it? Or
no,
are you showing disdain to this?
Fuck this god. Or at least fuck what this city has turned this god into.
Would you like a pamphlet?
It's another god?
It's for me. It doesn't have to be a religion. It can be a way of life.
give me a persuasion check.
I don't think... Let's see. Persuasion.
Elise kind of leans over and says, "He is strange, but he means no harm." And she kind of like, with her nose up and distrustful, takes the pamphlet and she like looks real quick and then sets it down on the counter for later.
I'm not gonna read that again. It's just gonna be... There's 2.
Yeah, you can add 2 amulets of proof of detection, or proof against detection and location to your inventory.
I'll bring this to the party. You can wear them. Are they like attunement? I can't recall.
I think they are, but I'll have to double check.
They are.
Yeah.
Oh boy, the party will not wear this.
Elise
Well, it's not for us, so
Yeah.
it's fine.
Oh yeah, it's for our buddies, our group of people.
During this conversation, Elise does kind of explain, like, there were several more that were in the vaults for certain, but I think the vault had been stripped, all except for this bizarre
we
cube.
saw.
They left the archive. I'm guessing they just didn't have a way to transport it. Maybe we could steal one of these mirrors, set up a pocket plane of some sort. Might be able to keep people safe in there.
Perhaps it will be safer in there. We could ask whoever is responsible for the security here. They might owe us a debt, after all.
The mother-in-law steps in and says, "Fuck that. You ask nobody. You're the queen now." And Elise is like,
Oh.
"Ugh, well,
Well, we're taking her with us, so it might be difficult for her to roll. Unless you wish to stay here, of course. You're completely fine to stay here. They seem like they need a ruler in this time, and I feel like you would be fair.
it is a big decision. I will talk it over with everyone before I decide. But maybe.
That's nice.
All the same, I don't think anyone will stop me if I go and try to take a mirror. I suppose I should go find out which of the nobles no longer needs theirs.
Yeah, I don't think anyone can stop you. They're all weak and would die in one punch.
It's true, but if there are dead nobles, I will take from the dead first before the living, at least.
Ah, yes, disrespecting the dead is easier than disrespecting the living. They tend to retaliate less.
Christ.
Unless you are prone to ghosts. Is this place prone to ghosts?
This place, I think, is prone to not much. It is protected from the outside quite well. It's all
Not so much from the
imaginary.
inside.
You are a man of magic. I'm sure you know that this place is not entirely real.
What? Yes, I've seen the illusions.
Right. But it can be shaped however you wish and safe from outside eyes for the most part.
Maybe we should keep our family here.
Yeah, maybe, but you know.
The doors, the mirrors, they can be moved and reaffixed. It takes some time, but I've seen Gale work. I think he should be able to do it. He can probably put one anywhere.
This would be a very valuable resource to us.
Well, I suppose I should go do my queenly duty and steal from the nobles.
Can I have some still stones?
They would have been kept in the vault.
They were not there, unfortunately.
No, you can take that box if you want, though.
It hurts to move. Do you have sticks that I can pick it up with?
Oh, where were we going to find sticks?
Looks around. Finds like a pair of cushions from a chair. Wonders if it helps if he just like sandwiches it.
The mother-in-law like smacks your hand. No, you are not taking those cushions. Besides, they wouldn't last when you took them out the door anyway.
These are not real cushions.
Right, they're only real in here.
Need to go find something from outside.
But yes, I'm sure we can find some way to move it. They were in a hurry.
Are you real, grandmother? He touches her face.
She gives you a look like she's damn near close to backhanding you.
She's real, Elise.
She is. She always has been. Back outside, Uno finishes up 2 more pieces of paper.
Oh, that's a sphincter. That's Varder.
Can I pull Ace and Nordo
okay.
and Uno to the ship?
Yeah, absolutely.
And anybody else who's kind of looking at these notes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Just while we're, I don't know, she's very slow at drawing, and between drawings, Nordo, please don't be mad, but I need your help.
Of course, Little Dragon. Anything you need.
Okay. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna take out my secret stash of donut nuts.
It's been there for a while.
They're very stale. Do you think that you're very good at cooking? Do you think you could come up with an antidote? Like reverse engineer it?
Nordo has just betrayal on his face.
Oh, no!
Look, I haven't had any in a very, very long time.
I can't
can
taste
tell.
anything
Look at
for a
how
week
stale
anyway. Give
these
me
are.
one.
I'm gonna take one out and I'm gonna chuck it just at something, and it's gonna probably leave a dent.
Chuck it at me.
It crumbles into dust, but it smells so good.
I'll try to catch it with my monk reflexes.
Hot down.
Crumbles in my hand.
Yep.
No, we need that. Like,
They do look pretty old. Yeah, I can try. I ain't never made no sort of. Where's Ace when I need him? You got
What?
another word for that? Oh, you are here. What's the Orcish word for antidote?
Bunga bunga poison medicine.
Bunga bunga, he needs some milk.
That's probably it, really. Eat some dirt.
I'd try. I know nothing about magic, but I know food and I know, medicine. Give it a shot. Since it's taking 30 minutes to each of these drawings, I'll, to the best of my ability, take this crate of donut nuts, and I mean take every single one of these donut nuts.
Aside from the handful that Flick has managed to steal.
Haha.
I'm gonna.
Take them to the kitchen and start trying, I guess, to reverse engineer a recipe out of
Sure.
it or some way to counter its effects.
Yeah, give me a cooking tools check.
I will assist on the magical side of this however I
Okay,
can.
excellent. That does help a lot because, well, you'll find out soon enough.
It's magic, ain't it?
Go and give me cooking tools with advantage because he's helping.
Terrific.
Do the can.
Oh boy.
Ooh.
Oh,
So, I have to
Was-
imagine that the already intense, awkward guilt that Gale's feeling for sharing his secret stash and his shame, it only becomes intensified, Norda, when you begin kind of dissecting this food, and you realize that this is it's an unholy abomination to culinary arts. There is technically some food in it, but most of what is inside of it is just simple baked dough, simple sugaring and a little bit of flavoring, and a lot of magic. There is so little actual quality to this food that is not just illusory or enchantment. It would be like finding somebody watching not just porn, but like weird, bad, terrible porn.
I don't know what you're getting at here.
I'm so you know exactly what I'm getting at. As for trying to reverse engineer it, you imagine that it takes poison to do this effect. It would probably take some, or not poison, magic to do this effect. It would probably take some sort of magic to undo this effect. However, you're able to deduce with a 31 pretty clearly that because it is delivered through gastromancy, there is almost certainly going to be sort of a gastrochemical solution to it. You imagine that the most effective antidote would be some sort of food delivered cure. Would you like? I'm trying to think of what information you could possibly get on the Nat 20 here.
Food delivered cure.
You would know for sure, having experienced both firsthand. The magical illusions that are put into this food, they make you like the food. They make it taste really good. They have a slight addictive property to it. It's nothing nearly as strong as the brief exposure to Formula O.Z that you've had. Whatever they're doing with the formula is way stronger than whatever's in this food, but you get the sense that they're probably like tangentially related, and you would actually be able to identify a few compounds that are similar. You imagine with a Nat 20, they're probably manufactured in the same place.
I've told you a little bit about the things that I've been through. Some of the horrors that I've seen with the orcs. And this is the most terrible thing I've ever seen.
Are my people going to be okay?
I don't know how much I can help with this with cooking tools, because there ain't no cooking going on here. It's all magic. It's all the trick. It's like when Nomad pretends like he looks like somebody else. It's a good trick. It's convincing, but it's just a trick. And whatever trick they're using to make this bullshit taste like food, the stuff that we smelled in Firebird's Roost, the stuff we all breathed in. It was a hell of a lot more powerful than this. I mean, one way or another, your people will be alright. We'll find a fix. But it ain't gonna be easy if it's anything like this. But I think you might be better suited to figuring out how to fix this than even I am. It seems like a problem for a real smart magician, not for a cook.
If only we knew a gastromancer of some kind.
It's a real shame.
She
Oh my-
died in her sleep.
I can check. I keep every time I come back to the ship, I make sure she ain't kicked the bucket yet. But it's just a matter of time.
It's the strangest thing because she will just lie comatose with her hands folded across her chest, the pale embrace of death and wrinkles around her neck and face for days at a time. And then one day she'll just be awake and, like, playing croquet on the ship. I don't know. It's bizarre.
Stirring a saucepan unlimitedly.
Croquet.
Croquet on a ship.
Yes.
More like she's probably eating.
Shuffleboard on a ship.
She does croquet for some reason. It's weird.
What do you do with the hooks? There's no grass to stick them in.
She just sticks them into the deck. She doesn't care.
Yeah,
What
exactly.
do you do? She's old.
That's why she's not
He has
allowed on my
a
ship.
mention.
All right, I'm gonna make some guesses with these drawings.
Sure.
The one that has earth, wind, fire, and air. I guess it's where the 4 planes connect. Is where they're going to make the void.
She gives a vaguely like, yeah, that's kind of right.
Okay, and the druids, Varder, and I guess the rest of you guys, the rest of the druids, were collecting those things, the daggery things, stillstones, I guess, to sink the islands,
Right.
and then they would give them to the dragons to go make the void by exploding a giant stillstone.
She kind of vaguely agrees, but then she does a little bit of doubling back, and eventually she points to Ayuna, and then to the thing, and to the falling island, and then she points to Varder and the thing, and then to the dragon, and you get the impression that they each have a different reason for wanting to make the viral ed, and that they
Gotcha.
may not necessarily be on the same page. They're just both working on the same project for their own reasons.
Gotcha. They're both making this stuff to mess with stillstones. One of them is dropping islands, and the other is going to cause massive explosions, I guess, or
Something
tears
like
in
that.
reality.
Something like that.
I mean,
I
the
know that.
semblance means, like messing with reality, doesn't it?
She nods, yeah. How could she even explain this? I'll try to draw something up. This one's
Yeah.
difficult.
Is our plane in the middle,
Um,
or is it a different plane?
ugh.
Nod for our plane. Shake your head for a different plane.
She doesn't have a good answer for that. It's a little bit kind of wibbly wobbly and hard to explain.
It's
Okay.
limbo.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's it. And they're gonna.
No, actually, okay. This part she understands your question better. She taps the drawing with the earth, wind, water, and fire, and then she taps the map that you have given to her, and she taps specifically the hook diamonds, and you can start to see that the land masses start to line up a little bit. Her drawing is better now that she's proficient, still not perfect.
Where's the hook diamond?
All of these
Hook.
broken and shattered islands in Izamar, or south of Izamar.
Like here?
Yep, right about there.
Okay, so
So they're trying to do ritualistic things at various points in the world in order to complete a giant ritual
and its center is
that will grant somebody an immortal body.
You stop this right now. She holds up one finger and she just points right to the center.
Sounds familiar.
Vasu, give me a history check.
I'm not a revenant, I promise.
You'll find out if you're a revenant, bud. Roll that history check.
No.
Do I have advantage?
You have the cartographer background, right?
Yeah.
Then you
Or
do.
not cartographer background. It's like the Let me look it up. It's the wanderer thing.
You've got something that makes you really good at maps and wander locations.
Yeah,
and
it's
stuff.
like I think I do have advantage on like I don't know if it's like history, but just like, you know, navigating places that
Right.
I've been to before.
Okay, it applies
Okay.
here. And with a nat 20, you learn a couple of things. The first of all, the location that she's kind of indicating, this intersection, it lines up pretty much perfectly with that big spire that popped out of the earth where you met Bjarl, with that big temple. It's like the exact location. And second, as this drawing kind of sinks in, you know you've heard of something like this. And it eventually kind of clicks. You remember a story that you've been told by your mom before of a large underground series of caves that have been referred to as the Snake Lights. It is a place where there is just a sprawling cavern that is filled with still stones of all sorts of different colors, and they all kind of meet at a big intersection, at a big cavern, somewhere out under the Hook Diamonds.
Yeah, I've heard about this sort of thing. There's you know, my mom told me stories about it at least. There's these tunnels under the Hook Diamond, just chock full of still stones, like, and you know, I'll relay the rest of that.
Yeah.
Tunnels. Sounds like the perfect place for you to fight in, Vasu.
Is it dark?
They're pretty dark.
Oh,
I mean, they're called snake
I
lights.
was going to say, you
Oh.
would actually know that it is surprisingly light, because it is just lit the fuck up with still stones.
could I make an object that just casts darkness on myself all the time?
Possibly.
A night bulb.
There we go. A night. Yeah.
I like it.
I like nightlight
Cute.
personally.
Shut up.
That's also
That's an
pretty good.
oxymoron.
Do you know on the map where the underwater city is?
No, she
We
doesn't.
know that.
So we know that part.
Okay, well, I wanted to know if she knew. I was just trying to confirm.
No, I like it. I like knowing what she knows and not letting her know that we know it.
Which one of these, or do any of these 5 locations have to deal with the Dragon's Roost where we first met you? Or the adjacent, portal to the...
She kind of gives like a wishy-washy circle around the fiery thing in the southeast, which is kind of vaguely over by that volcano area.
On the map or on the note?
On the note. I mean, she'd do both. She kind of shows it on both
Gotcha.
of them side by side. But she does kind of repeatedly tap the intersection. She seems to indicate that the intersection is what they really care about.
Yeah, I also accidentally closed that one again. I keep pushing escape when I'm trying to unzoom,
Oh,
and it
that's
just closes it out.
It's down in your inventory under notes, is where I've been storing these.
Thank you.
Cutting back to Nomad real quick, you walk with Elise back over towards the courtyard, or just back out into the courtyard. And after a little bit of looking around, she's able to determine one of these doors that will not be needed anymore because the nobles didn't make it. And she kind of holds up this key crest to it that she's been given. And you watch as the entire thing kind of condenses down from a nice, ornate, decorated door into a little mirror about the size of a pocket mirror that she can hold in her hand. And she hands it over and says, with this, and she kind of holds the key again, I should be able to put this almost anywhere that you guys want. We can design a safe place for your families to stay. A pocket plane of sorts. It's not as good as the necklace. The necklace will let you move around freely and, out here. But when the necklace isn't an option, it at least gives them somewhere to be.
True. And there is air. This pocket dimension.
Yes,
Yes.
it is very comfortable. It can even make food and water and the things that they might need.
How many people can fit in?
Hundreds. People throw parties in these things.
Many of our problems. But now we have another one. Will you be staying here?
Let's maybe talk with everyone else first before I decide that. Before we do that, let's go see if we can find some sticks or some other way to move that box. I'm curious why they left it behind.
Perhaps because it hurts them.
Yeah, most likely.
We'll come back to it later.
Can I tell you a secret?
Sure.
It's probably not a secret. I think you've noticed it about me. I'm just curious. I know that it's been in there for a long time, and I was told not to touch it. And now there's no one around to tell me not to touch it, and I'm the queen, so...
It's what Bat likes about you. She says it's a shame that you truly belong to Zawanu.
Well, I don't think I do.
At least you think that. And Nomad, realizing he has Tinker's tools on him, pulls out those long
Caliper.
the calipers, yeah, but those dinosaur heads on the stick.
So some calipers in your Tinker's tool set.
Calipers, yeah. Like 2 of them.
You can headcanon that it looks like a dinosaur head if you want.
Definitely not a dinosaur head. I don't know why he makes something like that.
I mean, depending on where you got them, maybe you've got some cool dinosaur head calipers. Why not?
I imagine it's just it's dinosaur heads, but calipers. Because he handles hot stuff. He has smithing tools on him as well.
Yeah,
So,
there would definitely be some in there too.
Let's see if this kills him by picking it up.
As you carefully use the calipers, you can definitely tell that there is a little bit of an electrical current that flows down the metal bit. But I assume that they are insulated at the handle, and you probably might also even have gloves on because of the smith's tools. And you are able to move it, although with some clearly agitated hissing and sparking from the box. It seems to protest a little bit. But you're able to
Stealing
take
it
it
from
with
the
you.
Royal Vault, at least. This is exciting.
Is it stealing if I technically own it?
No.
Okay.
But we can pretend. Would you like to pretend?
The crime adds thrill to it.
It does kind of add a little thrill. Let's pretend.
I will sneak. Watch. He does those exaggerated tiptoes.
Perfect.
Really high steps onto a tiptoe. But he's
Alarm
hovering.
tripped and they both die.
But he's hovering.
One of those scorpions comes out.
God, this is the box of the Scorpion King. Yeah, we'll go leave with this box if no one stops.
Alright, you start to head out, and you get there right about the time another page is finished, but it's still uploading, so give me a second.
Oh, you need the Nomad parts in order to draw things.
The rest of the party, you guys see that Nomad and Elise return with a sparking, hissing, angry silver box being held between some calipers.
Hey, that's a fancy box you got there.
What's that?
That box we found in the vault that no one could touch because it.
Oh, right, that one.
What's in the box?
She doesn't know. I don't know. This is an adventure.
There were stories that there was important information for if anything bad was to happen, and I think something bad has happened. Maybe it's useful. Truthfully, I'm just curious. I don't know.
Could you try using your royal key on it?
Oh, maybe. That's not a bad idea. And she will kind of hold the key out. And sure enough, as she kind of brings that crystal closer to this thing, you see that the electric field kind of peels away. It only leaves maybe a foot or so around it that is safe to touch. You can't really get the whole box all at once. But it does kind of cause just a dimming of power near that thing where the electricity stops sparking.
Can I identify the box? What
Sure.
she's
Sure, yeah. She'll hold it in place while you start to identify over the course of the next 10 minutes.
thinking your work. This will take some time. Probably the same amount of time that it takes Uno to draw something.
She gets this new page out to kind of help explain more of the 2 pages that she just showed you.
All right, so you can use the thread to go through still stones. Is that what this is supposed to be? This rock?
She nods that it is definitely supposed to be a still stone.
Okay, and that can take you to somewhere. I
She
guess.
she draws a portal and then crosses it out. She seems to indicate like it's not a portal. It doesn't. She's trying to convey
Okay.
something else, but it doesn't like teleport or anything.
Okay.
The moon.
Maybe it connects it to the weave.
There you go. She points. Yeah.
And then if you sever it, you can sever it from. You can sever the thread from the.
With fire lad.
Yeah. But it. I guess I'm.
Conduits of the weave, and if you sever the virulent, it cuts the weave off from them.
Yeah. And then she goes back to her original note and taps the word vacuum a few times.
Okay, so that's how you make
Creates
a vacuum. By cutting off a still stone from the weave.
She holds up one finger and she shakes her head no, and then she holds up like 10 fingers and she shakes her head yes.
Oh,
So it has to be
cutting
a
up
lot of
all the
st-
still stones from the weave.
Or. Well, how does she react to what Nordo says?
She kind of like shakes like close enough. Yeah, you got the right idea. It's got to be a lot.
A lot of them. Okay. So they're gathering all the stillstones from the island so they can put them together to sever them from the weave at the same time to create a void.
Yep, she says she's vaguely close enough. That sounds about right.
Okay.
Eisenmar was targeted.
And so while the druid lady thought she was just bringing down the islands to protect us from aliens, Varder was using this to bring these to his master so that he could create a void.
Yep, that all sounds about right to her.
I assume the druid lady did not know.
Yep.
Did we learn what they get from the void?
I
It's-
don't know what any of that.
Yeah,
How it benefits?
she kind of taps back to the original picture and she taps the skull in the center, but then she gives kind of like a shrug. She doesn't really seem to
Yeah.
know what the end goal is.
Say it's
They're gonna-
something.
They're going to combine it with the loom, the engine, the stage, God's blood in a formula, I guess, in some sort of way, and that's going to allow him to. I mean, I don't know what they need to give him life forever, but I assume has to be lives. So maybe he needs a formula to take over people to make them be willing sacrifices, and then he'll use a semblance engine to rip out their souls and put them in himself.
She gives like kind of a shrug, like, you know, that could be it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. We done seen Osmandius, or at least a picture of him, and he was already all bones and undead. It looked like. Wouldn't he already live forever? His goal can't be to just try to live forever, right?
Maybe just,
Theoretically, no.
maybe
Even
he needs to repower. Maybe he just wants more power.
the undead are eternal. Maybe he wants eternity.
He also, there might be a cost to that he is no longer willing to be paying. Like if he's all bones, he can't have sex, and I hear that's like really important.
Yeah.
I suppose if you want children,
I mean, he's already got
No,
those.
but
oh, then what's the point?
What purpose could it possibly serve?
Why would people expend this energy?
You've done your research. I've seen the books you read.
When you finish identifying this, you get this information in normal identification form. But also, it's narrated to you in the voice of an old man that I couldn't possibly
Oh
give
my
any sort of
God.
justice.
Do you want me to
please
read this? Should
Yeah.
I read this?
If you want to, go for it. There's a lot. I don't know. You can go for it. Why not?
Philo.
I hope you haven't scorched your hands identifying this old thing. You're probably going to need them. Within this archive are two secrets, the key to my immortality and the story of how we probably all died miserable, terrible, awful deaths. I swear both to be true, apart from maybe a few places where I exaggerated a detail here and there, and also the parts that I didn't know to be true yet, but they probably are. Okay, this is a lot to read. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, there's a lot, but it's all
It was
there, and
so
that is the
good.
voice.
Oh my gosh.
You get the idea.
Thank you for giving me the voice in my head to read.
Yeah,
It's
and I've
the
got the
real
voice in my head for the rest
Solange
of
you
it.
got.
Diablo. Dude. Something Kane.
Stay a while and listen.
Deckard Kane.
Yeah, I think I lost a bit of the crazy edge to Solange's voice that he used to have. I got to practice it again.
Can you read the last line? That way I just get the last part.
Let me
Yeah,
read
we
through
do-
the whole
we
thing
do
and then I'll.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
the last sentence. Oh no, he's dead.
No, I'm
Just
just reading
practice
through it. I'm reading through the whole thing and then I'm gonna read out that last line that
Gotcha,
everybody
gotcha.
wants me to read. Apparently.
Yeah.
How do you fuckers all read so fast?
We did. We just skipped to the last line.
I just gave up after you stopped reading.
Yeah, I'm skimming it but not retaining any of it.
I retained everything you said, and now I can't.
This should just be your Wild's tale. Just read this back to us, and we'll have to
Oh, God.
pass it on.
God.
God, I miss Solange. You captured his spirit really well with this writing.
I like to think that I've captured some Solange energy with this nonsense.
Good. Now stop fucking with this box and get to work, you lazy scam. I hope your alchemy is up to snuff.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Research progress 0 out of 100.
Just a heads up, I might need to dip soon. I have
For
to
sure.
work
Okay.
early tomorrow.
Yeah, it
unfortunately.
is pretty late. We'll probably wrap up fairly soon.
Cool.
However, looking over the other 5 sides of this thing, let
I'm
me
just
double
gonna
check.
go. I'm gonna point at the blood angel and just be like, "Is this supposed to be the SSLC and Zuanu, or is it actually a bear in a top hat?"
She's gonna start drawing another piece of paper to try to explain that one a bit better.
All right. I really hope she draws a bear on a unicycle with a top hat.
And because you have to take off soon, I'll just go ahead and show it. But it takes her another 30 minutes or so to do in character.
What does he mean by ingredients? Who speaks thieves' cant here?
Me, your boy,
Same.
Yeah.
Hello.
your boys.
Do you detect any thieves' cant here?
Thieves can't what?
What did you? Is it written, or is this the identify that you get
This
from
is
it?
the identify, but presumably Nomad can kind of like transcribe
He
it.
starts. He just
I'm
starts
assuming he's just
writing it.
telepathically telling us.
He when he tells people it's in that old man voice. He doesn't know. He's just repeating it.
Okay, so we have.
Oh yeah, that's right. Sal did know thieves can't.
All right, so if you get the Dragon Balls with the
Cultivator's
peer,
rogue.
No, I think that's the 5 golden rings.
That's
from that
that's
one
Adro,
song.
not Dragon
if you
Balls.
collect all 5 Dragon Balls and bring them to Sauron,
So I think those are 3 holy symbols, which are Adra and Joaquin and Jujak.
And as you say that,
Okay.
Nordo, because you're kind of doing an interpretation there with your art check, she starts to like draw another one and then another holy symbol. You get the sense that she's trying to say that any god could be up there.
Okay.
Oh.
But
Okay,
then
so
she-
we have to get the blood of the gods by pricking their finger, or just blood in general?
Yeah,
Okay,
so
so they're giving him worship and offerings on the left, and in return they're getting
the blood.
blood.
Yeah, she gives kind of like a nod, like that's vaguely the idea. But then she does the same thing earlier, where she holds up one finger and shakes her head no, and she holds up all 10 fingers and shakes her head yes.
A lot
Okay,
of
so they
God's
need a
blood.
lot of God's blood
She
I think
taps
the
the
implication is
worship
from
bit.
different gods.
She taps the worship bit, like a lot
Oh,
of
okay.
worship.
a
I'm
lot
ass-
of people need to do a lot of worshiping and then
Are they using
draw
the
a lot of
formula?
blood.
She shrugs. That's plausible, but she doesn't know.
Are they using the formula to control people to make them worship?
Plausible, but she doesn't really know.
Or does it have to do with Kuatoa?
Did you mean to make this one on the right have a penis sticking between his legs?
Hey, that's the male worshiper.
Thieves can't. You sure do. Who all does Thieves can't here? It's Ace and Flick.
Flick.
Yep.
You mentioned there's a little bit of a weird tone to the way he refers to
Yeah, I
ingredients.
don't know what he's saying.
Yeah,
because
it's especially the bit about ingredients that has a lot of hidden meaning to it. And you get the impression that when he says, so like the impression that you get is that to open this box you're going to need to find 5 ingredients of some sort, or find 5 formulas that are made up of different ingredients. But how do I explain this in the way that makes sense? He's not talking about literal ingredients. There's some extra sort of puzzle here. There's something else about the 5 things that you need to find that are going to be made up of different parts.
You need blood from 5 gods?
I guess give me like an intelligence check.
he was
Okay.
senile.
No proficiency, I'm assuming.
None, but the fact that you have Thieves can't makes the DC fairly low.
Not that low.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, Ace, I'm going to write something down in the private notes for this thing. You will get information later when it becomes relevant, based on that check.
Okie dokie.
Back to Ozymandias' goals have been
Meanwhile.
reminded by the chat that we had some, I think it was Nomadate a Brain or something, from some source. We had a vision where Ozymandias talked about how he wanted to like get home. He wanted to go home. That was like his goal.
There's no place
Right.
like home.
We don't have any idea what that means, but presumably that's part of why he's orchestrating all these big rituals all over the world.
Kansas.
Kansas.
Saznak,
All comes
Chris.
down to Kansas in the end.
It's Saznak here. Get it right.
Snap them heels.
God damn it, did I just get Saznak? I'm mad.
Really?
I'm really
Oh,
mad.
that lasted real long.
Holy shit, dude. I thought I was slow on the uptake, and I got it like 25
No,
episodes in.
I'm mad that I just have never thought about it.
Wait, what is it?
Fucking Saznak is Kansas backwards.
Oh, it is. I didn't realize that either.
Oh my goodness.
I wonder if Moat got it.
Fuck you and your Ikazai Dorothy shit.
Hey, I don't want to hear one word about being
Right.
mad about a parody character, Mr. Prince Frog of Myconid Kingdom.
Does anyone here actually have alchemy training? I don't know.
Oh, I'm not a bard.
No, but it's on my to get list, and I'm out of like ascended shit, so I can't do it until I sleep.
Cool.
We should get.
I
We
have
should.
survival.
Can someone wake up Granny?
I'll go check and see if she has it. I don't think she.
Well, she's a bard, so she has half proficiency in it.
That's true. Ish.
Yeah, it's
She does a little bit of everything.
Tell
I'll
you what, if I sleep, I can get a like fucking what do you call it? Expertise in it.
As she looks
Kid.
at the other 5 faces of the box, she's like, "Oh yeah, these are definitely alchemical formulas, all right."
They're just pieces.
No. So the top face has Solange's face and the words Cressidac archive on it. The other 5 faces of this thing each have markings and symbols that look like alchemical work. They look like formulas.
Oh, they're not Suwanu.
Correct. Yeah. Yep. I don't know what they
It's-
are, but they look
Kid.
like it.
Solange's in here. This is his.
This is his phylactery. We better throw it in the
Don't
volcano.
Let me out of this fucking box. I'm actually just trapped in here. I know you can hear me.
All right.
This is his prison cell.
With all that said, it's getting pretty late. I think we'll probably wrap up. We can figure out where you guys are going to head from here.
Yeah. Oh, we I tell everyone about the 2 necklaces we got and this mirror.
Just so that you guys have something to think about over the week. Elise says that she hadn't really even considered it until Nomad mentioned it, but what do you think about me staying behind and helping these people get set back up? I don't know if they will even like me, but this place doesn't have any leadership, and it technically falls to me. I don't know what to think, if you have any input.
Well, if your people need you, then it's what you want to do.
We'll kind of like
I need you, but also your people need you.
we'll let this one hang for a bit. You guys can we'll talk it over the weekend next session when we get to it. But for now,
Yeah.
I'll make Kaz take cleric levels, considering he sucks at whatever he is, because he always misses.
he does mention, or sorry, Elise does mention that she can install this mirror door, which essentially has a permanent magnificent mansion inside of it. Wherever you guys want, including on the ship if you want it.
That would be pretty cool on the ship.
Yeah. Do we get to keep the key? It's the only way we can kind of touch this box as well.
Oh, I guess that means you gotta come with us.
Oh wait, she stole 2 more keys. She's going to test one of the other keys and see if it works. And it does, and so she will leave one of these keys behind. She does kind of mention with a tone of seriousness, don't... This is important and valuable. Please don't lose this key or let it fall into the wrong hands.
Of course.
Okay. But she will leave
Keep
one behind.
eyes on it each time.
Yep. She does mention that the process of installing the door is much longer. It takes about 8 hours of like an arcane ritual thing. So you know, don't just peel it off all willy-nilly. But she'll help do it the first time. Show you how to do it.
We have powerful arcanists here, so maybe it'll help.
Yeah.
Where do you want it installed, by the way?
She defers to Gale on this one because it's Gale's ship. I wouldn't want to mess things up.
Will it be on Gale's ship or will it be on the other ship?
That's a problem.
Is the other ship compatible?